What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV back here for another preview stream for you guys. We got Brian Daigle back with us in the absence of Sim. How are we doing, brother?
We're doing good, my man. It's another day. We've got 3 days together, haven't we? Got the hat trick yesterday, today, the watch along tomorrow to talk all things Tottenham.
Yes, and it is Nottingham Forest at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium this weekend, which could be Antonio Conte's last game. What are you feeling about that? Do you think it will be Antonio Conte's last game?
So, like I said to you, I had a bet that I think it would have been gone by today, or by the game. Sorry, so we've still got time. But the worrying thing for me is I think you're going to be saying this every single game for the rest of the season. If we lose, then I think the writing is on the wall. But we're going to have to wait and see. But yeah, I think every single week you and Sim will be saying, is this Conte's last game?
Yeah, it kind of does feel like I think they'll keep him in the role up until, we're starting to fall out that top four. If we do lose this weekend, there's a massive chance that we do fall out that top four with Liverpool playing 12:30 against Bournemouth. If they win, they will go into the top four before kickoff on Saturday, 3 o'clock. So it's going to be a really interesting weekend, that's for sure. But in terms of the game, in terms of the matchups, the head-to-heads between Nottingham Forest and Tottenham Hotspur, we lost earlier this season in the Carabao Cup. But apart from that, we do have a really good record against Forest, albeit not played them too much in the last 10 years. I mean, you're looking at the last 5 games, backdating to 2005, 2014, 2022. I mean, when you think about Nottingham Forest, you think about them being a Premier League club, don't you?
When I grew up and started watching football, not only were they first division back then, but they were a force. Stuart Pearce, Nigel Clough, Des Walker, Steve Chettle, Ian Wone. They were a team. I mean, even before my time, they were right at the very top. You look at teams like Forest, and I think like Sheffield Wednesday and Coventry's and all that have been were the first teams in the Premier League when it came in '92. They're a massive club. They are a massive club that have been out of this league for way too long, and it's great to see them back in it. But yeah, when you look at those 5 head-to-heads, it's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's nuts. The amount of time we have played them in the last 5 years. I mean, they're definitely a club who I consider probably a Premier League club, even though they haven't been that many for the previous years. But like maybe for the younger generation coming through that don't know much about Nottingham Forest, they probably will completely disagree with me.
Yeah.
But I think that they've definitely had good players over the years. When you're looking at the form coming into it, I mean, Nottingham Forest have been impressive, really impressive this season. At the start, they brought in so many players, didn't they, at the start of the year? And everyone's thinking, are they going to go straight back down? Is it too many players to gel? But Steve Cooper, you got to give him credit because he's done an absolutely brilliant job. He's made the City Ground an absolute fortress this year. I don't think they've lost at home in the league since September or something like that. So you got to give them so much credit. But it's the away form where they're coming undone. You can see there 4 losses and 1 draw in their last 5 away games. It's the home form for us, which is keeping us ticking over. So, I mean, if we do lose this game against a team who can't buy a win away from home, and for a team like us who have got a fairly good record at home, I mean, it will say a lot, won't it?
It will speak volumes. But you got to remember, I think I don't know if they've won one recently, but I think their only away win was against Everton in the beginning of the season, August or September. That's how long they've been without an away win. And I think the last one was a 4-0 drubbing by West Ham, wasn't it? Yeah. So if they come to us and we can't pick up the 3 points, it will speak volumes. It really will. But like you said, they have started to do a wonderful job. And after bringing in that 20-odd players, first thing they did was sack their recruitment officer, wasn't it? So God knows what's going on there. But recently they have started to put a little bit of a run together, haven't they?
Yeah, no, they have, but it's mainly at home. Because like I said, the last 5 away games, like you say, a 4-0 defeat to West Ham, 2-0 defeat to Fulham, 2-0 defeat to Nottingham Forest, 1-1 away at Bournemouth. They even lost 4-1 to Blackpool in the Cup, who are not doing great in the Championship. So, I mean, away from home, they are really, really on poor form. Tactically, though, like, how do you think they've been doing this year? And how do you think that maybe Spurs should combat the threats of Nottingham Forest? They'll be flooding the midfield with 3 men and 3 hard workers in probably Jack Colback, Freuler and John Joe Shelvey. 3 really hard workers. So, I mean, tactically, how do you think we combat that?
So I think one of the things I love about Forest, when teams come up from the Championship and they play an expansive game of football and they're like, you can't do that in the Premiership, you'll get found out and you'll be back in the Championship before too long unless you really, really are a good unit. Their approach to this when they're struggling relegation, I watched the Everton Forest game last week, which was before the Liverpool game, Liverpool United. It's one of the best games of football I've seen. I even tweeted saying, Michael, thank you, Nottingham Forest and Everton, for reminding me what good football looks like. So they're fearless. They will come out, and that kind of plays into our hand, doesn't it? But we were talking yesterday about we're not creating enough chances. I think that's where it's going to be the counter-attack, isn't it? Because if they're going to flood forward, because they haven't shown any sign of, you saw at the West Ham Tonkin, they don't stop doing what they're doing. So we've got to have our attack on our game and get ready for the counter-attack. I think it's the only way we got them.
Yeah, and like you say, that probably is to their detriment in the away games.
In a way, yeah, for sure.
Because as much as, it's good on the eye when you see teams doing that, I mean, you need to have a bit more nous about you, especially away in the Premier League, don't you?
Yeah, well, 100%. And again, I think this may come into when you've got so many players coming in, they've had to adjust to playing with each other and everything. It hasn't been like a settled team from the beginning of the season, but you would think a way, especially coming into this game or this time of the season, where a point is a huge deal down there, huge deal down there. And they may tighten up, but I just can't see it with them. I just can't see it.
With the negative atmosphere seeping in, I was talking about it after the Milan game when I was saying Pochettino chants and Conte out chants and Levy out chants and literally everything that you can imagine in this split fan base at the moment. With this atmosphere coming into this game, maybe with Conte out being a bit more prevalent with the fans, do you think that will play massively into Nottingham Forest's hands this weekend?
I think, well, you got to remember as well, and it's still there, I've been checking the amount of empty seats that are there and just aren't even being taken on the
Apparently
exchange.
like 2,500.
Yeah, it's growing. And the thing is, the odd ones are getting taken, but normally, like when I've spoken to Nick or to Danny or someone who has a season ticket, they've put it on the exchange, it's normally gone within like 20 minutes. This amount of tickets aren't going, so that's going to speak volumes already. And what we saw Wednesday at Milan is obviously, I think the fans will do what they always do at the beginning, be completely up for it, behind the team and doing what they do. But if they just see the negative football again, it's going to knock the stuffing out of them, isn't it? And then also you've got to remember the added clause with this is we didn't get to see it in a Spurs shirt, but you can pretty much guarantee a Serge Aurier masterclass coming through here. So there's that as well. But the fans always have a huge part to play. But in that as well, when the fans are doing the brilliant things that they do, the players have a responsibility to respond to that and keep them going. And we just have to see if they can do it.
Yeah, well, most definitely have to see if they can do it. In terms of the predicted lineup for Nottingham Forest, a lot of injuries for them to contend with. When you're looking at that extensive list, Willy Bolly, Scott McKenna, Ione, Henderson, Omar Richards, Bianconi, Niakite and Sheikh Kouyaté, both the latter being doubts. I mean, when you're looking at this team, this is the same team that they played in that 4-0 loss against West Ham. Yep. Serge Aurier is an interesting one, obviously. I was saying throughout that whole first half of the season when Emerson was playing poor, when Spence wasn't getting a game, I was saying Aurier would walk into this team the way he's playing, and he's really impressed me this season, and probably a lot of Spurs fans as well.
I actually went on a few streams and said this as well, saying under a Conte system where the wing backs are urged to go forward, not saying he would have been brilliant, but I think he would have done better than what we had. The thing I see with that injury and suspension list is, again, like when Eriksson got injured and United went out and got Sabitzer, Dean Henderson, who people know I want at Tottenham Hotspur as Hugo's successor, out with an injury. What they do? They go get Neves from PSG, and he's done well for them. But yeah, Aurier has been a breath of fresh air. That injury list is a big injury list. I mean, Kouyaté, player I like. Willy Bolly on his day can be a rock at centre back. But we could say we've got a similar injury list, haven't we, with key players?
Yeah, we've got an injury list probably that stretches out to 4 players, but they're all kind of long-term injuries and big players for us when you're talking about our captain in Hugo Lloris, Rodrigo Bentancur, probably our best player this season. Yves Bissouma, probably the player that would have come in for Rodrigo Bentancur, albeit Skip has been really good. So yeah, we do have important injuries, but I think that with the players that we do have fit, we should have enough to beat this Nottingham Forest team who seem to not do well away from home for all season pretty much. But when I'm looking at maybe the two players from Nottingham Forest and the two players that have really caught my eye this season in Morgan Gibbs-White and Brennan Johnson. We'll talk about Brennan Johnson first. I mean, 7 goals, 2 assists in 25 games this season, 21 years of age, absolutely smashed out the Championship last season. I think he got about 17 goals or something when they came up. He took a bit of time to get accustomed to the Premier League, but recently especially, but he has shown it in spurts throughout the season. Fearless, speed, trickery, quality, knows where the goal is. I mean, he's a really good player, isn't he?
I've been very, very impressed with him. Recently, he's in a purple patch. You know what I've liked about him? It's the confidence and quality of his goals. These aren't tap-ins. He's running and using his pace and getting ahead of people. He did that, I believe, against Aston Villa. But just the calmness in the way he scored his second goal against Everton was incredible. And he also tried a little chip to try and make it 3-2. He is, at the moment, I can remember the commentators saying on Sunday, every time he gets near the penalty area, just shoot, because the form he's in, he has been very, very impressive and a huge reason to their recent resurgence.
So having said that, is it important for you that maybe Perisic gets left out for this one? Because you don't really want a 21-year-old Brennan Johnson coming up against Perisic at left wing back, do you?
Yeah, I mean, I think we saw after his recent performances, especially Wednesday, he's just, I feel a lot more comfortable with Ben Davies at left wing back, which I never thought I'd say, than I have with Perisic. In the last games against Chelsea and West Ham, Ben Davies got the assist in the West Ham game, and he's just got that defensive solidity that obviously we know Perisic hasn't got. And the one thing that Perisic has been known to do, he's not doing. So I will feel a lot more comfortable with Ben Davies at left back to keep an eye on him.
Only at Tottenham can you buy who was perceived as the best left wing back in Europe. Only at Tottenham can you sign who was perceived as the best left wing back in Europe, and then be more comfortable with Ben Davies playing there.
Yeah, but then also had to start missing Ryan Sessegnon.
Oh, man, this club, man. But when you're looking at the other side with Gibbs-White, I mean, he's been deployed in many different positions this season. But last game, he was playing more as maybe like the left-sided player on that system. 2 goals, 5 assists this season in 22 games. He's a player who I've been fairly impressed with. I've been more impressed with Brennan Johnson, to be fair, but I really like Gibbs-White. If he plays in that same position, would you like to see a Porro there or an Emerson there?
So I'm going to say to you what I said when I was back in Toronto, and it was the Nottingham Forest game in the Premier League where we won 2-0. And I spoke about Morgan Gibbs-White, and I said that I saw him at Wolves when he came on for his debut against us and was outstanding. I think he is a very, 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 very good player. I think he's one for the future. I really do. He's so technical. I think he's a real talent. And you look at it, like I said, he's been deployed all over the place, but it's really hard right now taking out who's playing against him. I think it's a real tough call now between Porro and Emerson, because it's obviously, if you're going defensive, you bring in Emerson, and if you want to go attacking and you're thinking get them on the counter attack, then it's got to be Porro. But both have stopped. Emerson has been fantastic for the last couple of months. Porro has started to show really positive signs. So that's a very, very tough choice for me. Right now, I don't think I could call it.
I mean, would you even like to see something outside of the box this weekend with maybe Porro right wing back, Emerson right centre back, Cuti Romero pushed into the middle, and then maybe a Longley on the left? Would you like to see that?
Whoa. I thought you were going to say maybe an Emerson at right wing back and a Porro at right winger instead of Kulusevski.
Yeah, that's also a shout, to be fair. That's also a shout.
Because if you look at it right now, I'm comfortable now with Emerson when he's at right wing back. I haven't got the anxiety or the worry or the stress when he's there. Moving him to right centre back, I'm not too sure. And we know that I was about to say that Romero isn't very dominant in the air, which he's going to need to be at centre back. But against Milan, it was the one good thing he did. So that one. So I think if you said to me, would you rather see what you said or maybe go with what I said and put Porro further forward because that's where we need him, I think I'll go for that one rather than. What about you?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I mean, I think that Emerson deserves to play. I think Porro deserves to play. Kulusevski has been poor. recently, so maybe it is a good idea to take him out of the team. I mean, when you're looking at Eric Dyer, he doesn't feel anyone with too much confidence, but he's been out of the team for the last couple of games, so I do expect him to come back in. So maybe you got a shout there. Maybe Porro should start a bit further up the pitch, but I kind of feel like I'd like to see Porro in his natural position.
Yeah, there is. This is the thing. I mean, this predicted lineup's going to be fun today. What we're just thinking about that. I think what we need to do now. I mean, that again with me saying Porro, that means Danjuma's on the bench again. So we're forgetting about that. I think Eric Dyer, like you said, does walk in. I think he's going to walk back in. He's been out for a couple of games. Obviously suspended for Milan. If we've got Davies at left wing back, then Longley is obviously going to play as one of them. So that's the left centre back done. Would I go Romero? So what would be the other Dyer, Romero, or experiment with Romero Emerson?
Yeah. But having said that, I can't see Dyer not playing this game just because he's been out the last couple of games. That's the problem.
So I think that solves that one. Unless he's got a slight knock at Dyer or something, I think it will be Dyer and Romero.
And what do you do with the Son, Richarlison, Danjuma situation? Because Sonny, again, really poor against Milan. Richarlison came out with that scathing interview, didn't he? It seemed like a direct attack on Antonio Conte, really. And Danjuma came in January, come on against Preston, looked good, scored a goal. He's had 1 or 2 minutes since then. Yeah,
it's something ridiculous. He's had more minutes in the FA Cup than he's had Premier League and Champions League together. So I'll break this down to what I think and what I want to see. I would love to see Kane, Richarlison, Danjuma. Love to, and that's just because I don't think Kulusevski and Son have been doing it, and take him out and give him a rest or whatever buzzword you want to use there. But I think with Richarlison's words, he may have just played himself out of the team.
Out of the team.
Or out of the starting lineup. Because no one wants to see that, especially when you're under pressure. So I think Richarlison may pay the price for it. And I would like to see Danjuma or Porro a right wing on the wing. I don't want to see Son. And listen, and before people say, "Oh my God, you're only saying this because of Harry Kane's white English, whatever." If Harry Kane, if there was a replacement for him, I put it. He has not been up to scratch, has he? But he is the one that is scoring the goals. So the three, what do we give them? 4s for me all round, 3s for you all around. So that shouldn't warrant starting in the next game, should it?
No, it shouldn't. And what Harry Kane was saying after the game against Milan, he was saying that game against Sheffield United knocked them for 6, and they haven't seemed to recover from that. And I'm sitting there thinking, you're the ones that put in that dire performance. You're the ones that, you're the ones that should be responding and reacting like the professionals that you say you are. Yep. And it's ridiculous that you let a result like that fester for so long, and then it completely ruins our whole season. So what you're saying is what? Is it still going to fester like that on the weekend tomorrow against Nottingham Forest? Because if it does, then not only are we out the Champions League and out the FA Cup in the space of a week, we're going to be out this top 4 race pretty soon as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's in the line with when Stellini said we lost because we had a lack of energy. There's only so long you can use these excuses now. Like you said, these are professional footballers, elite athletes, some of them world-class, some of them captains for their country or at least internationals. You deal with this and move on. It's part and parcel of football. You don't win every game. Bad results happen, upsets happen. But when other clubs have them, they dust themselves down. Yeah, it may be a game or two, but then
Man United, they just lost 7-0 to Liverpool. Yeah. They respond straight away in the Europa League 4-1.
Perfect example. Perfect example. That's what the big boys and teams do. They don't go, "Oh yeah, we're really sorry. We're going to do better, but we'll learn from this." They'll go, "Okay, yeah, we fucked up. Let's go sort this out. Next performance, bang."
How worried are you actually coming into this game?
I've been worried for a long time.
But this game specifically, because you're looking at it, and on paper, it should be a straightforward routine win. Really, it should. When you're looking at Nottingham Forest's away performances, our home form is somewhat good. Since we lost to Aston Villa, I think we've gone on a really good run at home. Really, we've beaten Chelsea there, we've beaten West Ham there, Chelsea who we haven't beaten in so long. So on paper, it should be 3 points. But we just know Tottenham is anything but on paper.
So let's put it this way. Everything as we look at it from afar and on paper, it's like you've gone to Gordon Ramsay's restaurant, given him a recipe, and he's going to cook it, and it comes out as a masterclass. What will happen with Spurs is you're going to a restaurant, you've got the recipe written down, and Stevie Wonder is your chef. That's the capability of what can happen with Tottenham Hotspur. All the ingredients here are set that it should be a 3 points. We should be able to get past them. But then you put in the Conte aspect, the Levy aspect, the empty crowd aspect, the negativity, the atmosphere. It's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, it really is. Well, having said all that, what is your score prediction?
Mate, I've been saying it the last few weeks. I'm going for a positive 2-2.
2-2.
2-2 or 1-1. 1-1. I'm going 1-1 because we haven't been scoring. 1-1.
What am I going to go for?
I did say this with Wolves, so I hope I haven't jinxed it.
I think I'm going to go for... I think we'll just about get over the line this weekend. I think Nottingham Forest's away form will play into it. I mean, when you're looking at it, West Ham, who are in disarray themselves, I mean, they just got battered the week before, didn't they? And then Nottingham Forest go there and then they win 4-0. So I think that tells you a lot about Nottingham Forest's away form. So I think I'm going to go for 1-0 to Spurs. I think we'll just about sneak it.
Just about? Who do you reckon will score?
Just about sneak it. I'm going to go Harry Kane penalty, 1-0.
Harry Kane penalty, there we go. There we go.
Harry Kane penalty, 1-0. But we just need something positive to give to us.
Just need a goal. A goal.
Because these last 2 weeks of following this football club has literally killed all of us. I mean, everyone is down in the dumps. We just need something to lift us, whether that be the hiring of Maurizio Pochettino, getting Conte out. I mean, getting Conte out is a weird one for me because I love Antonio Conte. I really do. And I would love him to stay here for the foreseeable future. But like I keep saying, him being here and not committing and the football that we're playing and the results that we're getting is just festering and festering and festering and causing disillusionment within the fans. The fans are all over the place. There's a massive split. So I genuinely think that the only way now is for him to leave.
Yep.
As much as I love him. So I actually think if he was to leave and Poch was to come in, let's say this happened today or tomorrow, I think automatically there becomes a resurgent in the fan base and maybe a bit of a lift in the fan base. Maybe not resurgent completely, but we need that as a fan base right now. We need that lift, and the longer Conte stays here, I just think the passion just goes down and down at this football club. And like you mentioned before, how many seats are available for this Nottingham Forest game? The day before that Milan game, there were no seats available.
Yep.
None. And now there's nearly 2,500, and I know so many people that don't have tickets on the exchange as well that have spare tickets. So God knows how many kind of tickets are really available. But we just need something to lift us right now, and unfortunately Conte staying here and the football that we're playing is just playing into that depression factor at Spurs at the moment. But having said that, I am going for a 1-0 win and to give the fans a bit of a lift this weekend and to stay in the top four. We got a good run now, so we have to just get these results by hook or by crook, no matter how we get them.
And just to say that as well, you remember you saying you were saying positive. We've got very shortly Conte's press conference coming out, and I think
starting in 2 minutes.
Starting in 2 minutes. There you go. So that'll be starting in 2 minutes. You got to remember, as soon as that's out and people have access to it and can see it, his body language, his tone of voice, his comments are going to start another round of either Conte in, Conte out, or what's he talking about. There's going to be more stuff coming our way.
Is there anything that we can learn anymore, though? Because I think that we're all in kind of acceptance that we know that we don't want him to be here past the end of the season as the hierarchy of the club. He doesn't want to be here past the end of the season. So what more can we actually learn?
Like I said, we're on the 12 steps of sobriety in Tottenham. We've all got to the acceptance level that this is about to happen. Yeah, it's just a case of when. We're already embracing ourselves for when this actually happens and is official. And yeah, I remember watching the first Conte press conference, and my channel were doing straight out of Conte, and that you just loved what he had to say. And then after what he said at Milan, I don't know what he was watching. It's just like, what are you talking about? Well, so it's delusion, isn't it?
I think we might have some Italian job T-shirts going for free soon. If anyone wants any.
I've got one of them. I've forgot about that.
No, but look, that is our match preview. Brian's going for 2-2. I am going for 1-0 to Spurs. I want to know your score predictions in the comment section as well. But let's move on. I think we've got some guests to speak to. And look who we have up first. It's Ashmatic. Yes, yes. Can't hear you, my brother.
Embarrassment. Just like
What's
Spurs.
up, Ashmatic?
He's done it again. He's done it again.
Not as bad as Sim though. Sim was on mute the other day as well. So look,
How are you coming on mute on your own channel? But anyway,
funny.
Ashmatic, how are you, man?
I'm all right, you know. I feel like I might be coming down with something. And I think it's
Tottenhamitis,
because
is
of
it?
Spurs. Yeah, that's it. I think I need a doctor. I've got some meds.
Where are you at? Where are you at the moment with the whole Conte situation?
You know what's funny? Like, I've been going back and forth and fighting myself, like, because at first I was a massive Conte fan, and I think I was more married to the idea of what he brought to the club. A bit like Mourinho, you know, it was that ambition of winning, being a top team, trophies,
Yeah.
no longer being enough. Do you know what I mean? And I just felt like it was the kick on that all Spurs wanted to hear. And it was almost like I was in a romance. And then off the back of last season, the type of football we were playing and the chances we were creating, I hadn't seen that many chances being created in a while. Like, we were playing like every so often, like our top three, we were getting so many chances and we were putting teams away 4-1, 4-0, 5-0, you know what I mean? And also our defense as well. We weren't leaking goals as well. So the clean sheets and the goals, I think the amount of goals, I think we were the third highest in the country at one point.
Yeah.
In terms of like XG.
I think we might have been top. We might have been top at one stage.
Well,
There
at
you
one
go.
point we definitely
There you
had
go.
the most potent top three, didn't we? From
Yeah.
from when Kulusevski came, we had the most potent top
I think
three.
it was from January until the end of the season. Didn't we score the most goals or create the most chances? I mean, we were definitely up there, that's for sure.
Yeah, so I mean, off the back of that, and Conte he looked actually happy as well. And then off the back of the window, we started off really fast. And he even though like we didn't get the central defenders, like he kind of went at the end, but ultimately Conte was happy. I saw him with Longley. He looked like that was the player he wanted. Like, that was the defender. Like, yeah, I know it's not a complete signing, but he came into that dressing room all smiling. Like, compared to how he was at Burnley, he came in like everyone's like, the mood's really good. Like journalists like Ali Gold was saying, you know, the energy, the atmosphere is really good. That's what I remember. It was like happy times, and I thought we were going to push on from fourth, to be honest with you. So I think my expectation was risen again, and then obviously the season has panned out the way it has with, you know, we're actually conceding a lot of goals. And for Italian manager, you think that we wouldn't concede. That's like not the number one no. You don't concede. You don't lose. Do you know what I mean? You don't lose that many goals at the back. But we've just been conceding every game. And attack, we've just dried up completely. Like, we've just not been able to score any goals. And so when I started looking at performances, I'm not a coach by any stretch of means, but I had to look into like tactical views and videos just to understand what the plan was. So I didn't understand the plan on the pitch because we were playing so poor. I said, no, I've got to read up on this because I'm not seeing why are we number one not scoring, and why are we playing so bad? What's gone wrong? What's changed? And I just feel like Conte's in-game management hasn't really been his strength. And I feel like we've been found out a little bit. And I think it's like Conte's stubbornness has almost been like it's my way or the highway. And if I haven't got the players to fit my system, I need to buy more players, as opposed to adapting the system or tweaking things. I'm not saying he's got to change his whole philosophy. His philosophy is philosophy, fair enough. But if you haven't got the players to deal with what's on the pitch at the moment, and your team's looking flat and you've got no energy and we're not creating chances, then surely as a manager, you're going to make a change either tactically or you're going to bring a player on. And too many times this season, we've left it too little, too late. And it is his fault. Do you know what I mean? And I start to look back at what he's done in his past jobs. And I know, like, he took a Serie B team up into the Serie A, and he took them up from like nothing. So I could say, all right, cool. He looks like a bit of a builder. Obviously, he's not known for that. Then you look at Juventus, and at Juventus, he had 10 years, a 10-year reign, and he won 3 titles. So then when I put
he was there, he wasn't there 10 years, was he?
A span of 10 years at Juventus.
You mean as player and manager?
No, I'm saying, well, I'm saying as 10 years, I need to research it a bit more, but I'm pretty sure
Conte was manager at Juve from 2011, 2014.
Okay, so it's a player and a manager.
Yeah.
But as he's had 3 titles in that time. So he's had 3 titles in that time. So I started to think, does Conte need a little bit more time? Are we thinking, we're rushing him too much? Like, we've only had a year and 3 months. Maybe he needs a lot more time than originally thought, because we looked at how he was with Chelsea and Inter Milan, and he came in, he pretty much just did the job straight away. But with Chelsea, he inherited a team where Mourinho had won the season, I think a season before, and then they fell off.
Yeah.
And then he kind of got gifted that team, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So then you look at Inter Milan and think, all right, cool. Inter Milan, he did a good job there. Like that's the one where he done it. But some may argue, I'm just saying, some may argue that it was during a COVID season. Do you know what I'm saying? So it kind of like glosses over like his credentials compared to someone like Mourinho, who was like a proven winner. Do you know what I mean? And I'm just telling you from my perspective. I'm not saying this is facts, but it just, in my head, I was romanticizing that we've got a proven winner in my head, and that's the reason why Spurs are guaranteed success. And that was the reason why I wanted to keep him at the club as well, regardless, because I'm like, he's got a winner. We've got a winner at the club. Don't get rid of a winner, because then from there you're going backwards.
Yeah.
But then I looked at the Chelsea season again, and the gulf between the top 4 and the rest was about 15 points. 15 points was the difference between 4th and 6th, and between 6th and 7th was a further 15 points again. So then now I looked at this season and I think, will Conte's Chelsea, where Conte finished 5th, sorry, he finished 5th in the second season, how would they fare in that season, if I'm making sense?
Yeah.
So I'm starting to look, right, is he really like proven? Is he really a top winner? And that season as well, Pep, that was his first season. So Man City weren't the same Man City that we're seeing now. And then also Liverpool hadn't got into the Champions League with Klopp yet. So we're now looking at teams like, you've got your Brightons, you've got Fulham, you've got Brentford.
Was that the year we finished second, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's another point as well.
Yeah.
So it was a year that we finished second as well. So with Pochettino, ironically as well. Yeah. So like my whole argument, I'm starting to look and starting to divot, like thinking, right, you know what? Is it a fallacy that I'm thinking like, reason why I want Conte? Is it really just that he's a proven winner and he's going to change for our club? I'm talking about for our club. I'm not talking about for like your Inter Milans and your Chelseas, because Inter Milan is a different league, first of all. So it's a different landscape in Serie A. And then also looking at the fact that Tottenham haven't had success since Pochettino, and we need someone that's going to take us to another level. And I look at Conte now more as a finisher as opposed to a builder, because I'm trying to look at the players since he's been here, who he's kind of not developed, but whose game's risen. At the start of last season, I would have said like he picked up the whole team. But looking at this season and looking at the window that we had, can I honestly say he's improved a lot of our first 11? I'm starting to have questions.
Yeah, the only one that seems like he's improved this season is Emerson Royale.
Exactly. That's the only player I can honestly say that.
I think you can add Bentancur to that list.
Bentancur as well, yeah.
I think you can add Bentancur, and I think then you're pretty much done.
Yeah, and then apart from that, it's starting to go down. But like I said before, it's like my big problem is him calling out the board. And at first, I was happy because I'm like, yes, call out the board because it's going to bring the whole thing down. But if you want Conte to stay, surely you want him to work with the boards and you want a harmonious relationship because it needs to be good from the inside out and the outside in as well. And if he's calling out the board and he's not really going to be harmonious, how can we work forward with a manager or a coach like that? Do you understand? That is always every second is demising the actual board itself. So, like, the reason why I say that is because people are against Poch coming in, and I'm 50-50. But if Poch was to come in and he didn't get backed, then I think fans would start to uproar even more because the fans love Poch. They love him. And they think the only reason why Poch never worked is because he didn't get backed. You know what I mean? Like,
but I mean, when's that breaking point actually going to happen? Because we seem to say this under every manager that we get rid of. I mean, we said it under Jose Mourinho. We're like, all right, he didn't back Jose Mourinho. If he doesn't back the next manager, then that's it. It's over for them. But we seem to say this every single time.
And the thing I'll add to that before you answer Ashmatic is what happened with Conte as well. And when you're saying outside in and inside out.
Yeah.
When Conte came in, me especially, and people that are like me were like, right, this is the guy that finally calls the shit out. It doesn't matter if this relationship, we want it to work, but if it doesn't work, this is the straw that breaks the camel's back with the largest Spurs. I don't think it was ever so much just about this relationship working. I think a lot of people were like, right, if this don't work, Conte's going to take the whole ship down with him. And that's where a lot of people were happy he was coming in. Obviously, he's the born winner and everything he does. But I think at this point, that appointment was seen by myself and especially Levy out people that this is the one. And we're not even getting that now, are we? Because it's now deflecting. And I even heard fans saying, this is the last chance, this is the last chance, this is the last chance. But people that were even saying this is the last chance are now saying Conte out, not, okay, Levy's done it again.
But Brian, if you compare that conversation to when he came about Levy out, the Levy out movement is way bigger now. I know the protest isn't big and we need more protests.
No, you got a point there.
Don't get me wrong. Nothing happens overnight. But I think the snowball effect of Conte coming in has had a huge conversation in the Spurs community like never before. In fact, that we even haven't had the trust talking about it. Like, we've had people, pundits now coming out talking about it. It's gathered up so much momentum. So Conte was a key and integral part of it. So what I'm saying is, it may not break the camel's back. You're right. Because it's like, oh, another manager comes in and it doesn't happen. Another manager comes in. He's never going to go. Do you know what I'm saying? He's like the stepdad that you don't go with. You understand? Like, you don't love mummy right like I love mummy. Get away from mummy. You know what I'm saying? So it's the ugly stepdads that you got to deal with. Like, you can't get rid of them. Mummy loves them, but, you know, it is what it is. But I just think with Poch, I think people think because, you know, the whole stadium move as well, that season where we were in White Hart Lane for that last season, we were unplayable. We were incredible. We were undefeated. And I always feel like if we had another season in that stadium, we would have gone to greater things. Anyway, that's a separate conversation. So with Poch, in that when we were in Wembley and we didn't get backed because the stadium was being built, that was the excuse. And you know, we did 3 windows without Poch being backed. And then when he did get backed, it was like the wrong type of players and signings, whatever what may.
And he was gone a few months later.
Yeah.
And he was gone a few months later. He didn't get a chance to work with those players that he actually wanted and he brought in. So I think, like, because he loves the club, and Conte, in contrast, has disrespected the club by talking down. I'm like, I'm for Conte, but when you start talking like you're bigger than the club, I think that's massive no-no for me. Like, don't disrespect Spurs. Don't disrespect the family. Don't talk out of like, who do you think you are? Do you understand? Like, keep calm, stay calm. I know you've achieved a lot, but Rubai, listen, there's a lot of people that will be unhappy with you if you keep talking about, oh, Milan this, Milan that, rare tear tear. Bruv, don't do it. Stay calm. Do you understand? We understand that you won Scudettos, you've won FA Cups, Premier Leagues, but like, put respect on Spurs' name. Do you understand? That's all, really. But I just think it's a process. For me, it's a process. And with Poch, people are saying the argument is they don't want Poch back because we don't have the players to play that pressing football. Press. The whole time of Pochettino's era, it wasn't all press. Because guess what? Pochettino's, like Conte's tactics, they got found out. And he had to adapt. I don't know if you remember, but we wasn't always a pressing team. So he adapted. He was like, you know what? We can't do this pressing thing. So we're going to switch it up. So everyone's like, oh, we can't. If Poch comes back, we're going to do high press. We've got 30-year-olds. We're not going to be able to do it. He's going to have to refresh the whole squad. We're going to need another 11 players until we get, it looks like a Poch squad. But no, I don't think that's true. I know he inherited 6 or 7 good players when he was with, when he took over from AVB. But I think he's going to inherit a stronger squad this time around. Yes, we have Deadwood, but I'm not saying I'm like, Poch is the answer, but I'm just saying I think he might have a better crack this time around if he has a good director of football behind him, and Levy seems to like him. And if Levy was to drop, that he said, there was an extra 100 million that we didn't spend, or 50 million that we didn't spend from the other window, and we got, income revenues coming left, right, and centre, and we added that to the transfer window. I think Poch would have 100 million or 150 to spend. I really do. I don't think Poch will come in and there'll be no money for him to spend all of a sudden. And Levy was like, this tricked you. You have to work with the youth now.
Got you again. Got you again.
I think the mentality, the conversation needs to change. Like, I think Poch would get money. I think he would get funds. I know no one's being backed like Conte. Conte demands the world and more. And I think that's why the fans were happy. But I do think Poch will be back. But in saying that, I wouldn't mind something new. I wouldn't mind Enrique. Like, that style of football I think we've been deprived of attacking football so long, for this season I'm talking about. For so long, the performance has been so bad for so long, I think we're starving for a change. We're starving. So that's the reason why I wouldn't mind, like, if Conte was to walk, I wouldn't mind like an Enrique or a De Zerbi style type of manager. Do you know what I mean?
Do you think that's going to come from now before the end of the season, Conte to go? Or do you think we are going to wait until the end of the season?
I think we'll wait. But guess what? If we draw tomorrow, and I think Liverpool will win, pressure for Conte, because already Richarlison's come out and he's talking. And I had a feeling the players weren't happy. I had a feeling that the training sessions were going to be a mazza. After he lost his bestie, that was a fitness coach, I knew, like, in his head, he's lost it. And he's just going to be like, right, I've lost my fitness coach, but this is how he would have done it. And when results ain't going your way, and you've got to do laps and laps and laps and laps, but then you've got to be fresh for a game in 2 days. You know what I'm saying? You've got to be fresh for a game. And then you're not getting picked on top of it. Like, all the players, all the fringe players sitting, like, thinking, rah, I've worked hard in training. I ain't argued with him. I've done what he said, but I'm still not getting no game time. I'm still not getting played. Like players like Dan Juma, I don't understand whether you rate Dan Juma or not. Like, whether you think he's good or not, he could do the job or not. Conte would have said okay to the signing. Yeah, he would have given him the thumbs up. Why on earth, if he was in the Champions League the season before and he played against Juventus in the last 16 and he scored in that last 16 and he helped them to get into the quarters, why wouldn't you play him? If
you know what, Ash? I actually heard that from a source close to Conte. What Conte said when we signed Dan Juma, do you know what he said? He said,
what?
Well, there must be a reason Villarreal are letting him go on loan.
kind of backwards thinking is this?
You know what I mean?
Club signing.
Before the even come.
Club
Before he's
signing.
even come. But so what? That's what I'm saying. It doesn't work. It's not working. They're not working in harmony. They're not. It's got to go. They're not working in harmony. You can't say it just doesn't make sense. There's no point. We're getting Richarlisons, we're getting Spencers, we're getting Danjumas, and they're all club signings. So what's the point of him
having
doing
said all that, isn't it better for him just to go now? Shouldn't he just
that?
go
Yeah,
now?
of course it is. There's no harmony. There's no harmonious. I don't understand. It's not make it make sense. That's what I'm trying to say to you. Make it make sense.
This is Tottenham
The math
Hotspur,
ain't
mate. It
mathing.
doesn't.
The math ain't mathing. So he might as well just dip now, because what's going to happen now is more players are going to get pissed off. And then when results don't happen, it's going to get more toxic in the dressing room. So eventually he will probably want to quit. But then it's at our cost as fans. It's at the cost of the club. It's just like Daniel Levy has to man up, yeah, which he's not going to man up because he's a pussy-o, yeah. Daniel Levy's I'll tell you how it is, bro. And he's not going to do nothing. He's just going to whimper out, wait for the fans to react, and then he's going to pull the trigger. He's not going to use his initiative. Do you understand? And it's just such a shame, because we're going to have to watch it. But I'm watching it like hoping Forest take a point, which is mad to me. I can't believe I'm saying about the club.
Wow.
Like I'm coming out and saying,
wow.
I'm hoping for a draw. I'll be real.
Fair play.
There's too many times I've been like optimistic. And I said to Sim, I said, bro, I tell you what kills you as a Tottenham fan. It's the hope. It's the hope.
Always.
It's the hope. Better that you don't have the hope, yeah? Just cut that out. And that way you'll live a better life. Do you know what I'm saying?
Ashmatic, what I will say with that, do you remember you were doing the watch along for Wolves, and I came on and I said, remember I said I predicted a positive 1-1 draw, and I said to you, I forgot when you hope for the draw, and you say the hope that kills you. You go get a 1-0 defeat, so you got to be very careful. You got to be careful.
Listen. If we take the L, right? If we take the L, then it's just going to get real toxic. I say it's going to get toxic.
A draw will get toxic as well, to be fair.
You think Levy would be thinking, nah, I've got to pull the trigger because they're not playing for him. They're no longer playing for the manager. I've got to get this guy out. Otherwise, my head's on the block, which is a good thing for us at the same time, because like naturally, that's what I'm saying. It will naturally happen. We don't have to force people saying Levy out. It will naturally happen I'm telling you, Conte was the first step in the process. He was the first cog in the wheel. And I'm telling you, like, you've got man like Gina's coming out. You've got man like Rose coming back. Rose is my hero, by the way. I'm about to have to get the little part this way, the way he's got his trim. Because he just spoke up and I was like, yes. And then you've got O'Hara on TalkSport. Do you know what I'm saying? You've got ex-players coming out, talking their stuff, saying like, nah, this is... Even Ben Hoddle was like, wow, I don't understand. All the attacking football. No, even Ian Wright. I was watching Match Today. Ian Wright said it. They've got so much attacking players, but they're not attacking. They're not doing it. I can't understand what's going on. Like, Arsenal brothers are saying it. I'm like, wow, this is mad. So that's how I know. I said, listen, it might be a blessing in disguise, bro. I don't know. Like, I just think if we do draw or we do lose, then it might be the push that the club needs to pull the trigger. Do you know what I'm saying? So
yeah, I kind of feel the same way, to be honest. I kind of feel as soon as top four becomes in doubt, I think that's when Levy's going to pull the trigger, because he knows that Champions League revenue is getting further and further away.
You know what you got to do? You know, like we did the World Cup sweepstakes. You need to start an Antonio Conte gets sacked sweepstakes.
Oh, God. I don't even want to. It's too depressing.
That's
man.
what
It
you
really
need
is.
to
It's just too depressing. But Ash, in terms of the game, tomorrow, I mean, they've been terrible, absolutely terrible away from home. They've just got dicked 4-0 to West Ham at the London Stadium. I mean, tactically, how do you think we play this one?
Go down there, left side. The left side's weak. That's where they can see the most goals. We've already got... I would put Porro as right wing back, as well as Emerson's been playing. Sorry, Baz. I know you don't like that. Hear me out. I won't say kick him out. Stay calm. I know you're losing your marble. Breathe, bro. Oxygen mask. All right, cool. So, no, on a serious tip, though, I would put Porro right wing back, and I put Emerson left wing back because I think Emerson left wing back, Conte's put him there a couple times. And I feel like he's looking at him like he's trying to put him there. He knows he's more defensive, solid. You know, like they're going to try and rattle us because they're going to have the three in the middle. They're going to be on top of us. They're going to try and push us back. But the space is going to be in behind. And I feel like Emerson's really good at coming inside a lot. Even in that Champions League game, all the chances were falling to him in the first half because he was making the runs late, inside runs. He's making intelligent runs. And he's having to shoot. Now he's got no techers to finish. But guess what? When he's on that left wing back role, and he's hugging that touch line, he knows when to come in to make that midfield a free. And so it's like almost a false left wing back. He's like a false nine, but a false left wing back, if that makes sense. So tactically, I think we'll be more solid on the left hand side, so that a protection to someone like Davies. I think Davies will play left centre back, and then I think the two in the middle will stay. I think it will be Højbjerg again and Skip. But I think if Emerson's on that left side, hopefully Højbjerg can push up a little bit further because I think sometimes Højbjerg plays a bit too deep, and Højbjerg, when he's further forward, like we saw at the start of the season, he's got more chances of creating assists and goals because he can see the pitch, he can see the pass earlier. Højbjerg's a man, if he gets pressed, he panics and he starts pointing. You pass backwards or pass sideways, he starts pointing. Like Dyer, when he's rattled, that man start pointing. Oh, you gotta do your job. These times it's still, Hey, so I think.
Where's the accountability, Ashmatic, man? Where is it?
I'm telling you. Listen, the man just scapegoating. But anyway, I think up front, obviously, this is the biggest talking point. I think up front, the three. Rich is barling all the time. He's proper whinging, but he doesn't know that him barling to the press, he's basically put himself on the bench again. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So I think Son will start again. I think Kane will be up top, and I think Kulu again because they're not going to start Danjuma. Richarlison's going to get fined. We're just waiting for that, and I don't see them starting Lucas over Kulu. But I think Son basically has zero confidence at the moment. That's why he's taking a touch and he's passing, he's dropping in midfield, and he's not dribbling past players anymore. He does dribble, but he doesn't dribble in the right places. He's not attacking the space. He's not running off the shoulder. His movement's poor. And I think it was one of his worst games in the Tottenham shirt on Wednesday. Not just him though. A lot of players had like Kulusevski's decision making. Normally that's his strong point, but for some reason Kulusevski's it was awful. He was crossing.
Take on a man anymore. What's going on with that?
I don't understand. He can't beat a man. He can't. He's just making he needed to pass it outside and he passed it straight and he intercepted in the first half. He's just having a mare, like literally. But I think they will have no choice but to start him. I think we have no choice. Like Lucas, I don't think they'll start Lucas. But yeah, I think that's it. Kane is Kane. They won't ever drop Kane, sorry. So I think for us, for Forest, it'll be easy for them to mark us out the game because they know stop Kane, you stop Tottenham. It's that simple. Stop Kane, you stop Tottenham. Because guess what? Kane's going to do what he does as always. He's going to drop into midfield. He's going to take a touch. And he's going to try and find that super pass into Son. But guess what? Son's got chains on his feet. Chain up like that. Free my guy Sonny, yeah? Hey, listen, I don't know. I think Conte has put chains on him. I'm not going to lie to you. He's made him an attacking midfielder. He said, brother, you're an attacking midfielder, and this is how I want you to play. That side there, that's for Perisic. You can't go there, yeah? That's Perisic's side. You got to stay here, or whoever's on the wing back. But that's the reason why I'm saying I think Emerson will play left wing back because Emerson comes inside in that left-hand half space at the edge of the area. So that can maybe, I'm hoping, that Son can pull wide into those areas, a bit like what you saw with Liverpool and Gakpo, when Gakpo was pulling wide and coming inside and shooting and scoring. And similar with Martial as well, when he was playing, I can't remember what game it was, Newcastle Cup final, EFL, and he's pulling wide into those spaces, not always central, and they're mixing up their game. Tottenham front three is too rigid. We're too predictable, and in game moments, we don't know when to switch it up. We don't know when to tweak. We're not tweaking. We're not tactically changing things, and the substitutions are too little, too late. And that's it, really. That's Tottenham summed up. Predictable.
Well, if you're saying how predictable it is, give me a score prediction.
1-1.
1-1, yeah.
1-1. That's well. I should be saying 0-0 because we're not scoring goals. The last 3 games we've not scored a goal. So I'm hoping if I say this, then obviously the opposite happens, isn't it?
Well, let's hope so, man. Ashmatic,
See you
thanks
later,
for coming
buddy.
on, bro. And we shall see you next time.
See you later, buddy.
Come on.
Peace.
Some home truths there from Ashmatic. We've got a few super chats to get through, and then we'll get on our next guest. And I think he might have something to say to Ashmatic when he comes on. Tuvi with the super chat saying, we're getting turned over Saturday. Poch won't come back. Mark Cousins, Somerset Spurs says, Mike Bassett in, we will play 4-4-2. Jay Thompson says, Conte bigger than Spurs. LOL, sit down. Scorpions fan for life saying, Conte out. Yes, I booed the team. How can you be happy with it? Clap them off or sit in silence. Levy, blah, blah, blah. But that football is inexcusably awful. And Jay Thompson says, enjoy Thursday night football next season. Well, thank you very much. Well, our next guest seems to be opening a parcel, so I don't know if he's going to be able to come on.
Look how quick he got rid of that parcel. What parcel? What parcel?
Let's get him on. Something inside so strong. What parcel, Barry?
And
You're
he's
on mute, my friend.
I thought I'd follow in Ashmatic's following Ashmatic's footsteps.
Well, he says Emerson shouldn't be playing right wing back this weekend. What do you say to that?
I heard what he said, and I agree with him. So
fair enough.
As long as he's playing, right? That's the most important thing because Perisic is crap. So that's. Look, Emerson, as long as he's on the pitch, that's fine. But yeah,
would you start Emerson on the left, or would you start Davis there?
Well, obviously, I mean, I would probably start Emerson. I'd start Emerson right wing back, and I'd put Porro instead of Kulusevski. So,
yeah, that's what Dega was saying before. But before we get into the nitty gritty of the game, I mean, where do you stand with Conte at the moment?
Like with the rest of them, doesn't really matter. I'm just. I had a nice stream last night. We didn't talk about Tottenham. We were very,
what did you speak about?
Well, we did pick one, kick one. So we got Iggy to choose between either Joe or Panny. We got Bobby K to decide between Little K or Big K.
What did they choose?
Well, we chose Little K because of his hair, and we chose Panny because Joe supports Liverpool. So
why does that sound more exciting than what we've been watching recently?
It sounds so much more. I prefer just to talk about your stream last night than just carry on. To be honest,
we also there was also some really chicken wings or fried chicken, Pepsi or Coca-Cola.
What about fried chicken
Pepsi?
wings?
Sorry, Ben.
What about fried chicken wings?
That wasn't the option. This is where it got a little bit. This is where it got a little bit confusion because people started going, "Well, I like this on this, and what are you talking about this?" And I said, "No, just one or the other." So, look, it looks like we know what's kind of happening. The kind of narrative has all been set right in terms of where we're going from here and what the future holds, and we kind of know that the exit strategy is kind of being set right. Whether it's if we don't get anything but a win before the weekend, I think that's curtains. But I think I'd be very surprised if we come back from the international break with Conte still there. If we have a couple.
When is it? After Southampton?
It's the last.
After Southampton, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So after Southampton, we've got no more games this month.
Yeah, so at least we don't have to talk about Tottenham. Well, you do, but we don't have to talk about for kind of 2 weeks, right? But yeah, I'm kind of a bit like, whatever. There's nearly 3,000 tickets on the exchange for the game on Saturday. There's
Plus
probably
my
more
4.
people. Yeah, there's probably more people that aren't going to go because either they haven't listed them or they can't be bothered to list them because they've logged on and gone, there's absolutely no chance that, the tickets are going to be sold. So, look, I don't know. The game and everything else on tomorrow is going to be interesting because it's who's going to be there. Is anyone going to care? It's a very, very weird time, right? And look, Forest have been. I spoke to a Nottingham Forest fan earlier. They said they've been poor away from home all season. So I said, don't worry, Tottenham are here. So yeah, I mean, obviously you two are going to be watching it. So so yeah,
glutton for punishment.
I would say warmth of the studio, but it's probably colder than it will be at the ground. Or it was the
other night. But if let's say Spurs get a couple of wins before the international break now against Nottingham Forest and Southampton, do you think that maybe fans will start to come on board again, or do you think that's it for this season and fans have lost their passion?
I think it's it. Liverpool play Bournemouth at 12:30 tomorrow, so they're more than likely going to go above us into 4th place. Brighton have 3 games in hand.
Brentford have 2.
Newcastle have 2.
Brentford have 2.
One now.
Is it 1 or 2?
I'm sure Newcastle have 2.
I'll tell you in a sec, but go on, carry on, Barry.
Well, yeah, so you've got that, and then you've got, obviously, we're playing Newcastle, we're playing Brighton, we've got to play Brentford, we've got Liverpool and Man United in between them as well, and it's just like, this could go, regardless of even if we go on a run, right? All the other teams have got those games in hands, they could easily finish above us, so it's not really, it's kind of, we're again hoping that, we're hoping that results will go our way. And we're also hoping that Arsenal don't win the league because it's getting closer and closer to that time where, although they've got a horrible April, it's getting close to the time where we think it's probably going to happen, right? The last 2 games, Villa and Bournemouth, they've come back in the dying seconds. Everything, the whole season has gone their way, and it would take a monumental drop off. And that's the only thing I guess we've got hope left. The hope is gone. And I sat here. We're still in the FA Cup. We're still in the Champions League. We're still in top 4. Even I'm broken, man. Even I'm broken. I'm in the mud with my predictions. Danny's going to call me deluded. But look, I'm trying. I'm really, really trying to stay positive, but I just don't see where we go from here. I'm just glad that there's the international break because if we're up against Newcastle, Liverpool, Man U when we've got them in, at the end of April for the next 3 games, it'd just be, I wouldn't even want to watch it. Wouldn't even want to watch it.
Barry, who would you have up front if you were picking the team? Who is your front 3 you're going for?
Well, Richarlison's not playing, is he? So that's going to be the first one after he came out and what he said. No, I think I would, like I said, I'd like Porro to play instead of Kulusevski. Obviously, we saw him at Wolves. He looked bright when he came on against AC Milan. I think Porro needs to start, and I think he should start instead of Kulusevski because he's not, like you said about being, like Ashmatic was saying about being found out. We kind of know what Kulusevski is going to do, and like you said, Ben, a minute ago, he's not taking players on for whatever reason. So yeah, I think that you're going to go with Danjuma probably isn't going to start. So what is it? Lucas Moura, Kane and Son was probably the likely 3 if that was the 3. But I don't really understand because Lucas Moura's going. That's really the only 3 that they could play if Porro plays instead of Kulusevski. But yeah, that's really the only options left, right? Or what are you going to do? You're going to stick Romero up there so he can't get sent off for taking people out. I mean, I don't know. That's the other option, So, but Dyer's back, so it's fine.
Happy days.
Every cloud
Barry.
has a silver lining.
What's your score prediction, Barry?
I want to say 2-1 to Spurs, but it's just something really, really worries me about this weekend and the atmosphere. Like I said, with everything else that's going on, I'm just very, very concerned. Let's just say very, very concerned. So look, we need to try. I know I always say it. We need to be positive. I know I've not been positive. This club's broken me. It's the final straw, but I just want to see some fight. I want to see some passion, but unfortunately, I'm not sure we're going to see it. Maybe I want to be wrong. I want to be wrong. I want to be sat there, but yeah, it's going to be another weekend where Spurs are going to be in the mud. Our phones are going to be exploding. Fans are going to be fighting with each other in the stands. It's not good. It's not good at the moment, is it?
Nick, all I will say as well, remember what I said on my instant match reaction here when I said, how's the positivity treating you?
Yeah, it's treating me great. I mean, look, if I don't watch the game, I can't not watch the game. I was debating not watching it. I was like, I can't not watch the game, man. Even if I'm not going, but I've still got to watch it. And it's like it's like a session. It's like you don't want to watch it, but you do want to watch it, but you don't want to watch it because you know what's going to happen. It's just draws you back in. This club just draws you back in, chews you up, spits you out, and that's all. At least look, one game a week, right? So you never know what can happen. We could get that top 4, but I'm just even me saying it doesn't sound convincing now. So
we're actually getting a few quotes from the press conference now, and he's talking about Richarlison. So I want to get your feedback on this one. And he says, first of all, I watched the interview of Richarlison. He didn't criticise me. He said his season is shit, and he's right. His season has not been good. He's had injuries, played and scored in the Champions League, and went on to the World Cup and then had a serious injury. He scored no goals for us. I think he was really honest to say his season has not been good. His season has not finished yet. And if he deserves to play, I'll give him the opportunity. For the rest of the interview, I think he made a mistake. When you speak of I and not us, you are being selfish. I say to my players, if we want to build something important and win a trophy, we have to speak with we and not I. He made a mistake and he apologised, and it's good for me to clarify with the team again about this. In this aspect, we have to improve. We have to be more of a team and show more spirit and be positive, especially in the negative moments. So what do you make out of that? Do you think that says to you he's going to play this weekend?
No. Well, Conte came out after the game and said that he was pleased with the performance. I mean, I don't know whether he's got some these glasses on that are like watching, maybe it's got like Real Madrid Liverpool game on or something, and it's going, oh my god, great, this is a great game. They played really well.
We're winning 5-2 here.
Yeah, exactly. What's the crowd moaning about? What's going on? But look, I think it's the same thing that happened with Romero when Romero put the tweet out about the medical staff. Then he was asked to apologise. You can sit there and say, oh, it's lost in translation. Look, for Conte to sit there and say that Richarlison was not criticising him baffles me, because I think we all understood what that meant. And to sit there and say that, I get the whole I and we, and but but to kind of agree and say, yeah, Richarlison's been shit, it's fine, yeah. But I'm surprised Conte didn't go just like the fucking rest of them. No, I think it's coming. I think it's coming to a natural conclusion. Whatever Conte says, whatever the players say, we had this thing about Pochettino, and Pochettino. The players want Pochettino back. They probably want him back because maybe they're bored. Maybe they're bored of the training. Maybe they're bored of the nonsense that they're getting in the media. Maybe they're bored of being booed. I don't know. It's really, really tough at the moment, and I just don't see any which way. Unfortunately, when Tottenham Hotspur are doing bad, everyone's in kind of meltdown, and I guess that's kind of how I feel. I'm in meltdown, and when Barry's in meltdown, we know that there's a big problem at this football club.
At least you got some hotel rooms to book to sell.
No, I cancelled. As soon as the final whistle went, I looked at Brian. I said, Brian, right, cancelled. Yep,
they're gone. They're gone. The dream is gone. Didn't we book? Oh no, I was about to say, didn't we book for the Europa? We're not going into Europa League now, are we? So we didn't book any Europas just in case we got third, did we?
No more.
Not that it matters.
For the rest of the season. We're just going to end up in Butlins and Centre Parks.
Yeah. Well, I think it'll be a Europa Conference League hotels in Baku or something like Arsenal had to do a couple of years ago and go on like a 13-hour flight to get there. So,
well, Nick, just book the same amount of rooms for next year's Conference League, Europa League, and Champions League, because we might get to one. Book them now.
Yeah. Well, we won't need to do the Champions League because it's at Wembley. So,
oh, is it?
Not. Yeah. So, I think it is next year or the year after. Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, look, it's tough to take. I think and I think all coming in 1 week where and the draws are playing out, not perfectly, but you couldn't have asked for a better draw in the FA Cup, in the Champions League teams that have gone through, bar Real Madrid, and who was it? And Benfica even, who obviously tore apart Bruges and Parker got sacked, but bar them, there's no sort of standout results. And yeah, I think it was just one thing after another, and we saw it. I just want those players to see some of the passion. Even 10% of what the away fans show. That they're the ones. Having seen that at Man United, having seen it at Wolves, they're the ones that are, that really, kind of feel disappointed. Not forget, but the ones that want to come and once a season, twice a season, spend £500 in the club shop, and then let's have a jolly day out. Okay, fine, that's what they want to do. But for the ones that are there week in, week out, the ones that are travelling up the length and breadth of the country, they're the ones that I feel even more sorry for, because I just it's even Wolves. It was like a 12-hour day, and it's just exhausting. It's exhausting physically, but it's also mentally exhausting. And look, it's 3 points or bust on Saturday. Ben, if we don't get anything but a win, I think it'll be very difficult. I think there'll be leave you out chance. I think there's obviously the protest before the game. I think there'll be boos for the players.
If there'll be any fans in the stadium, yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, there will be. I mean, there's blocks with like 90 plus tickets still available, so there's going to be some big holes in that stadium tomorrow, and maybe. Okay, people would have still paid and they may not have sold their ticket and everything else. But, from the match day revenue point of view, if you've not got 10, 15,000 people there, even if they're spending a tenner, right, it's for a cold beer or half a warm bits and chips and fish and everything else, right? That's still £150,000 that potentially would be there. So, look, the fans are kind of voting with their feet, especially for this weekend. But let's see what happens over the next few games. I just go into that international break with 2 wins. But yeah, you know what's going to happen. Serge Aurier is going to score a winner off his backside.
Can you imagine?
Then James Ward-Prowse, who we've been talking about for months, will probably go and bang in 2 free kicks, break David Beckham's record, and we go into the international break in like 6th place or something stupid. So. Look, it's never fun with this football club, but it's interesting. Let's just say it's interesting.
Right. Barry, before you go, Nick Achilleos just given us a comment, and he goes, Why does Brian keep calling Barry Nick?
Well,
this guy's got many names, Nick. He's got many names.
Yeah, well, look, even on our WhatsApp group, Si didn't know who Barry was, right? So he thought...
Big up, Barry. Thanks for coming on, bro. We'll speak to you next time.
Speak to you next time, guys.
See you later, brother.
Some more quotes coming out from this Conte press conference, and he says, and where have I heard this one before? He says, we have good guys. Sometimes it's not enough to be a good guy. You have to show the right desire and fight to win the game and the duels, to be nasty. I think that sometimes we are a bit soft, but I'm the coach and I'm the first responsible for this to happen. Where have we heard that one
I seem
before?
to remember a Portuguese manager saying it very openly in a documentary.
Yeah.
Mate, listen, again, this is the thing. It's the same players that are throwing people under the bus. How many more managers need to say the same thing before we take action? And I don't mean we as in fans. I mean the club. How can managers keep saying the same thing and it's not listened to?
And he's also talking about Danjuma and why he hasn't been playing so many minutes. And he says that... he doesn't see Danjuma as a number 10, and he sees the behind the strikers as number 10, not wingers. And he says he sees him more as a second striker or as a winger. And he was about to bring him on against Milan and switch to 4-2-4, but then Romero got sent off. So he didn't get to come on. But that is why he says he doesn't have the specific characteristics to be a number 10, but has good characteristics to be a winger or a second striker.
I'm so happy we brought him. so happy we brought him to put on the bench, and you were conveniently just about to sub him, but then something else happened, so you couldn't.
Yeah.
Oh, mate, it's all bollocks. It's all bollocks.
Next up, we have Elias. How are you doing, Elias?
Big up, Elias.
I'm doing good. Even happy with now the comments that Conte has made about Richarlison. That's all. It just tells all those Richarlison lovers how shit he is. I don't have to say much. Why Son is playing ahead of Richarlison? You have the reason. The manager himself said it. I think I don't have to go even into that discussion anymore.
Go into it, Elias. What do you mean by that?
I mean, manager himself has said that yes, the guy is shit. He has been playing shit all season. He has been struggling with that, and now even if somebody wants to still tell me that why is Son playing ahead of Richarlison, I don't know what you're on really. It's obvious. And by the way, Barry, your camera is on.
Elias, I'm gonna pull you up here because I do believe Richarlison should be playing in Son. So I'm one of those people that you've just said about, and the only reason I say that is because you got to remember
round one, ding ding.
Well, this is going to be nice, but it's going to be an exhibition. It's not going to be a duel. It's going to be a friendly exhibition. When he came on, when he first came, you look at the shithousery at Nottingham Forest. When he came in against Fulham, when he started coming on for Son on the left, he was doing more than Son. Now, obviously, he's been then shoved to the right, where is his worst position. Then he went to the World Cup and played well as a centre forward, which we know he ain't going to start as a centre forward for obvious reasons. Then he got an injury at the World Cup, so he was out for a bit. Just when he was on the crest of a wave of form, and it got hampered again. Granted, whilst he's played there, he has not done much, and he needs to start doing a lot more. Granted, but Son hasn't done much more than him. Son hasn't had a bigger impact than him. Don't get me wrong. On their day, if Son is at a peak of his powers and Richarlison is at a peak of his powers, it ain't even a competition. Sonny walks in, it's not even a debate. But I think at the moment, yes, he's not been playing well, but I think Richarlison has had just as much of an impact as Son has in a lot of the games, which is next to nothing.
No, if you look at that, I mean, I agree with you what you are saying. The problem with me that I have with some of the fans is the one who are saying like, "Oh, Son has been awful. Richarlison is the answer to all your struggles," and that sort of stuff is really BS to me. What you just described is a situation that has been in the past, like how he has played in the past, and now the situation that's currently right now. But even if you look at the current situation after World Cup, Son has been way better than Richarlison in terms of his contribution. If you consider a whole season, maybe. Even then, Richarlison has been playing on right and all that positional wise as well. Son has been pretty okay. Like if you look at it, it's like he has been scoring goals. Like in Preston, he scored a goal. 2 or 3 games before that, in Crystal Palace, he scored a goal. And then recently, it was I think the West Ham game, he scored a goal as well. Like 3 goals, and then 4 goals actually in about 6 or 7 games. It's not a bad position to be in, and the way he has been playing behind as well. Like even if you look at his creativity in terms of his corners and all that, he has been giving you that. Whereas Richarlison actually, when he has been coming off, there's no creativity, or his XG has been bad, even worse than Son. Like I think a couple of days ago, somebody put up that stats, like within 6 minutes of just Son coming on, he made more effort in a game than Richarlison did for the entire game. Like these are the kind of stats that Richie has been putting up lately. I don't rate Richie as like a really bad player, but to say that yes, he is the solution over Son in the starting 11, that's a narrative that I don't understand really. At this point.
But the last two games, Richarlison did start are the only 2 games we've won recently. And when you're looking at Richarlison, you bring him in for 60 million. If he can't come in for a player that's not playing to his capabilities and playing poor, then when the hell is he ever going to come in? Just for injuries?
No, even if that, you need to show that yes, you deserve a chance in the starting 11. he got the two chances in the starting 11. What has he done? Has he shown Conte that yes, he deserves a place in the starting 11? I think we all know in Premier League you don't have like 3 or 4 games or a month to prove yourself. You need to prove yourself as soon as possible.
I
The
agree with
pace
that.
at which the league with the league is played, if he can't show himself to the manager in 2 games in starting, or 3 games even, like let's say, he's out. I mean, you look at the situation that we had in our wing backs, like Jed Spence struggled with it. He didn't even get those kind of chances, even though fans were kind of, at that point, some fans were happy for him to start and all that, but even he couldn't get that sort of chance. Richarlison had more than that, but he couldn't prove himself to the manager. So it just tells that how the level of Richarlison where he is right now. And I was personally a bit unhappy with that interview that Richarlison gave. Like, what have you done actually to even say that? If let's say a player like Danuma even come and say that, okay, who hasn't played at all, Richarlison has been given minutes, but he hasn't shown enough. If somebody who has been playing well and then he said that, yeah, I am struggling to get a place in starting 11, then it makes sense as well. What have you done lately? Nothing.
What has anyone done lately? Let's be honest. What has anyone
I
done?
mean, yeah,
Because
in a way as
Heung-min
well,
Son,
but
2 games against AC Milan. What has he done?
nothing. I mean, in a way, nothing. But yes, he has been better than Richarlison overall in the other games, at least lately. 4 goals in about 7 games is not a bad stat. It's not a bad figure.
Fair enough. Look, Elias, I think we'll move on from this topic, but I think you do raise some good points there, that's for sure. But talk to me about Antonio Conte and where you stand on the whole situation at the moment.
I think we are throwing another manager under the bus. Really, like I kind of disagree with Ashmatic when he said earlier that the in that process of rebuilding, or in that process where we want you to go all out and getting rid of Levy, the first step is to get Conte out. I don't think I agree with that. I don't agree with that, because just putting Conte out as a priority, it just shows you that actually you are blaming another manager again. You are not realizing the fact that actually your problem is not the manager, it's the owner. It's the owner has to go. Let's just assume, even if let's say Conte has been performing lately not so well, the problem is not Conte himself. He has performed under other teams. He has given you results in the past. If you tell me that yes, Conte is playing a boring football, his football is not attacking enough, that's another one that I don't agree with. If you understand football tactics much better, or if you have researched on 3-4-2-1 system, actually we have been playing attacking football. It's just that our attack is not creative enough to actually bring in goals. If you look at the games as well, most of the time I think the amount of time we spend in opponent's half is quite a bit. We are not sitting deep in our own half actually, but in the opponent's half we are struggling to score goals. I think there was a video that I just watched over as well, somebody did lately, and he was analyzing this whole issue that the problem is our creativity. Conte doesn't have the kind of creative players who can actually build up that attack when we are in the opponent's half to bring in goals. You don't have a good right wing back who has just recently come in trying to settle in. You don't have an attacking mid. You're playing with Skip and Hoiberg. Both are very defensive midfielders. You don't have any form of creativity from anywhere. Your center backs are shit. Like, where do you expect the creativity to come on to bring the balls up to Kane or even Son? Nowhere.
So what's changed then? Because in the last few months of last season, we were creating a lot, we were scoring a lot, we were winning a lot of games. Fast forward to this season, I mean, we're struggling to create, we're struggling to score, we're conceding a lot of goals. So what's changed?
In my opinion, I think when Conte came in and he started deploying his tactics at that point, it was a very new thing for other teams to figure out for us, like what kind of style we are playing, what kind of movements our player has, and what sort of philosophy we are building on lately. It was not that easy for any teams to figure out how we play under against a certain formation and all that. After a season, I think we have become a bit too predictable, and that's where you need creativity. When you are predictable against other teams, when you are showing them like what your usual tactics are, they're going to figure it out easily. That's where you need someone in your midfield or in your wings who can be a little bit more deceptive, a bit more creative to kind of deceive the opponents a bit. We don't have that sort of players in our team, and that's what I think Conte is struggling with at this point. His tactics have become a bit too predictable because he doesn't have the players who can actually create at this point to add in a bit more deception in the game. We don't have that. So that's my take on it, because if you look at it, I think we are playing kind of similar tactics. And pace-wise, also, I don't think our players are struggling in terms of their pace and all. It's just that, like, even you just look at Sun. Sun has become a little bit too predictable at this point. That's one thing that I agree. Where his finishing is struggling, like center backs can predict like what kind of shot he will take at which place, and that's where center backs have figured him out. And this sort of thing need to change a bit.
Fair enough, Elias. What's your score prediction this weekend?
Uh, uh, I think I'll go with about a 1-0 win at best. Because the fact that Nottingham Forest has not been doing really great. Yeah, so I'll go with a 1-0 win. Let's see how it goes. Seriously.
How the
Not
hell is
my
it going to be
forte.
possible for West Ham to score 4 and us to only score 1? It's actually ridiculous. But Elias, thank you for coming on, and we'll speak to you very soon.
It's crazy when you look at it that way. You just
I
said.
know. Come on, you
Come on,
Spurs. Just going to check if there's anything else about this press conference coming out. Anyway, let's bring on the bun, Danny Kiriakou.
And everybody.
What's going on, everyone?
Danny
up, brother?
Kirimano.
How you doing, Daddy brother?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm not too bad. How are you boys doing?
All good.
Going through the motions, my friend. Going through the motions. You know how it is.
Yeah, of course.
Um,
Usual day as a Spurs fan, I take it, basically.
Basically, you were here in this. You were here in the studio against Milan for the second leg. Talk to me about your feelings about Antonio Conte at the moment.
Talked about the wire.
With Conte, I mean, there's so much going on about Conte and about him. I hear a bit of echo. I'm not sure who that is. Hold on. Yeah, there's a bit of Anyway, I don't know. Can you still hear that? Can you hear that echo, guys? I'm not sure.
No.
No, everyone's muted in the back end. I'm not sure. Oh well. Yeah. So basically, what I think of Conte is that I think that his appointment was the wrong appointment for this club. It was the wrong timing, and I think it's very clear to see that the appointment was really just to kind of get the fans back on board, to show them a bit of ambition, or to make it look like we're being ambitious, right? They give him a ridiculous contract of 15 million or whatever it is a year, and they were never intending to give him the tools that Conte needs to do his job the way he wants to do the job. And I think that it's quite sad because it kind of looks like the life and soul has been sucked out of him at the moment. And it looks like he's just like a beaten man. And people will say, yeah, he's got a lot of family issues, or he's missing his family. He's had the operation. People have died in his personal life. But let's be honest. Conte is a professional, right? And the guy, all he talks about is wanting to win. Like, he just talks. When you listen to him before, I don't know, before December, right? Even if in January, actually, he was saying he wants to win trophies for the fans. He's kind of giving these little hints to the fans about what type of club are we? Are we fourth? Are we sixth? Are we seventh? Are we fifth? He's literally kind of saying to people, like, the club need to decide what they are as a club, who they want to be, and it's like he's trying to work within their restrictions. But I think he kind of feels that it's probably it's not going to work, and I think he feels like he's just done. It looks like he's done anyway. And it's sad because for me, I you know how I feel about Daniel Levy, right? And the problem is that I still, like so many Spurs fans, if not 99% of them, were so excited to have Conte come into this club, right? Because why they were so excited was because it was that inch of hope that finally we might have got a manager where the club actually are going to back and actually going to give him everything he needs to do his job. But again, it's that little bit of hope in us that always kills us, right? It's that little bit of hope that Daniel Levy likes to dangle over everyone's head, and he rips it out of them because Conte is again he's not gonna achieve what he wanted to achieve at this club. And if they knew that they were never going to be ambitious to go for trophies, then they should never have hired him. They should have hired like a Ryan Mason. They should have hired a young manager, no experience, whoever they wanted, Scott Parker, put anyone in, because it doesn't make a difference really who the manager is, really. Because in my opinion, I don't think any manager that comes in is going to make a difference with this squad. We might play some nicer football. We might get some players who fit a better style of play, and you might see it a bit nicer on the eye. But again, what do the fans want? Do they want just nice football, or do they want to compete for trophies? Right? Because the way we as a club, the way the club is run, we cannot have both. We can't have amazing football and compete for trophies unless the board wants to compete for trophies, right? So this is why I get annoyed about this Conte kind of misconception that fans have, because with Conte, right, people talk about, oh, his football's dead and this and that. Yes, the football has been atrocious, right? It has been so bad lately, right? Last season, though, no fan was complaining about how bad the football was, were they? Where's all the fans that were complaining about the football now? Where were they last season when we were winning games, and majority of the games we were winning? We just had a few hiccups along the way and towards the back end of last season, right? And this is the thing, like, if you look at the stats, the statistics, right? We were one of the highest scoring teams since when Conte came in, right?
Yeah.
And we were very, very good defensively. We were one of the better teams defensively as well. So, and a lot of the players are still there, the same players. But the problem is, fans literally forget all the time, guys, all the time, that the same players let the club down time and time again. And I know people are going to say, oh, but he's got a better squad and this and that. But it doesn't matter. If you look at the squad that he's got, there is still 9 players currently right now in that squad that was still there from when Poch was there, right? 9 players in that 25-man squad. Not one of Klopp, Arteta, or any of those managers that have rebuilt those respective clubs, right, has had over 3 players in their squad from when they first took over. Not one of them. So how can fans sit and say Conte out, Conte this, because he has had 13 months in the job, 14 months in the job. How can you transform a club in 14 months, right? And if people want to sit there and talk about where we've been as a club, right, in terms of where we were, people forget we were having these debates on some Twitter spaces and stuff like that, and everyone was saying that Conte hasn't put us in a better position, right? And the argument was from people who were saying that was that it's just delayed our process in rebuilding. And I said, well, first of all, who's going to rebuild this club? Because the club don't want to rebuild, right? They clearly don't want to rebuild because we've got still 9 players in that squad from when Poch was still there. And that includes Harry Kane and Son and Lloris. It includes Eric Dyer, Davis, all those types of... And the worst thing is, we've still got 3 players on loan who was still there when Poch was there. Lo Celso, Ndombele, and Winks. And they're still going to come back into the squad, right? So, and if we can't get rid of them or we can't loan them out again, they're going to be there. So that's 12 players we're going to have.
I get that, Danny. But aren't we right now, since Paratici has come in the process of I get that we haven't done it maybe as much as we would have liked. The defense hasn't been looked at, which is obviously very fair arguments and obviously very true. And if you're going to bring in Conte, there's no reason why you don't build from the back, right? Yeah. But is it not fair to say that since Paratici has come in, the rebuild is underway, and we have been doing, you know, the quality and the caliber of player, apart from the loan signings that have come in, have been pretty good?
Well, this is exactly what my point was, Ben, in terms of my argument against the people who are saying we haven't improved as a club, right, since when Conte came in. The fans forget so bloody easily. It actually pisses me off because they can't sit back and analyze where we were before Conte came in, or where we were before what happened before Nuno, before Mourinho, right? They can't analyze that. And this is the problem, because if you actually look at where we were when we had Nuno, we were looking like we were going to be in a relegation battle the way we were playing. We were the worst statistically in nearly all the stats you could possibly put out. I remember when we were seeing it on SofaScore, Sky Sports, we were like 20th in the league for pressing. We were like 20th in the league for this, or 18th in the league for this. We were terrible. Yeah. We were getting beat 3-0 every game, right? And when Conte came in, he completely turned it around. He got Harry Kane back on board, which is a massive key thing what he did, right? And like you said, Ben, we've brought in Bentancur, Kulusevski. We brought a few players in that have definitely made us an improvement to where we were when Nuno was there or when Jose was there, right? And fans literally forget this all the time, and that's what's so annoying, because we have actually progressed a little bit. I'm not saying we progressed a lot, right? But we have progressed a little bit, right? And we still all of us know the players that we need, the positions we need filled, right? We all know we need 2 centre backs, we need another maybe left wing back, we need another goalkeeper, maybe another attacking midfielder, and another striker, right? Maybe even another right winger if Mora and Danjuma go back. We're going to need another winger as well to replace them. So there's still a lot that needs to be done. But my point is that I think fans are jumping the gun so quickly on Conte, right? And I just feel that he needs to be given a bit more of a chance than what he's been given. And what he's showing us, right? Of course, the football's not great. No fan wants to sit there and watch it. We've been in the stadium, Ben, me, you, Brian as well, and we've like nearly fallen asleep in the first half because of how bad it's been, right? Yeah. But it's that look at, people need to realize, look at where Arteta went, right? Where he came in and what he had to deal with for 3 years before he rebuilt, right? He had an 8th place finish, playing absolute dross football a lot of the time. I mean, you could see the style of play he was trying to imprint in the team, right? But a lot of the time they were losing a lot of games. They went on a 10 game losing streak, didn't they? And then he got sacked, right? So
yeah, but what's the key difference there, Danny? What's the key difference there is Arteta was invested in a long-term project. Antonio Conte won't sign on further than this year. So, I mean, how do you expect the fans to get fully on board with Antonio Conte now when we're seeing this football, we're seeing the goals that we're conceding, we're seeing that we're not scoring many goals at the moment, and then on top of that, you know, he's not committing his future to the club. So, I mean, what other way is there to turn?
Yeah, no, I get that. But the thing is, right, you have to understand that it's a two-way thing, right, about a manager wanting to stay at a club and a club wanting a manager, right? It's not a one-way thing. The manager has to feel that he can do the job that he wants to try and achieve at this club, right? Yeah. That's from the manager's point of view. If he's going into a club, he's taken a job. Okay, forget the money that he's getting paid, right? Because it's a lot. But if he's going in there and he says, right, this is what I want to achieve at this club, right? And they've said, okay, we want to try and get you there. We want to try and get the club to where you want them to be, right? And then all of a sudden now, you see a complete change in the way he is and his persona and how he's feeling about the club, right? And he's now at the point where you kind of see that he's kind of feels like he's given up now. He's given up that hope that he had, that maybe that he was under the assumption that he was going to get more than what he's been given, right? You just said it yourself about Danjuma. Your source said about how he said that there's a reason why he left Villarreal. I mean, that says it all. It says it all, right? It literally says that Conte obviously is not signing all the players, right? Which is obvious. He's not signing all the players. That's obvious. That's clear to see. And the players that he might want, maybe the board don't agree with because of their age or whatever it is. But again, you've invested in a manager's idea and philosophy, but you're not allowing the manager to do what you're paying him a lot of money to do. It doesn't make any sense, right?
So where's Paratici in all this? Why is there no alignment between Paratici and Antonio Conte?
I think Paratici, right? I think there is alignment, right? But I think that what happens is Paratici will give a list of players. He'll say, look, these are some of the players we think might be good for this role. And they'll go through them and they'll discuss the players. But the problem is, I think the players that Antonio Conte wants is not really in line with what the club wants. And I think that's where the problem is, right? And I'm not just talking about better quality players who are 60, 70 million pounds. I'm talking about older players, more experienced players. And look, I understand
Ashley Young.
Yeah, I mean, look, I understand to an extent, right? I understand to an extent that you have to kind of compromise a bit, right? Every club compromises with their manager. No, not many managers get exactly everything they want. That's just unrealistic.
I mean, Conte wanted Perisic. We delivered Perisic, and look at him now.
I mean, look, I know everyone is saying look at him now, and he's been playing bad, and he's not. He doesn't look like he seems to be working with Son very well either. But this is how sad it is, Ben, that he's actually our top assister in our club. That's how sad it is.
And the main bulk of them
that's
are
set how sad
pieces.
It is.
The main bulk of them are set pieces.
But imagine where we would be, Ben, without those set piece goals or set piece assists. Where would we be without Harry Kane getting on the end of them, right?
Yeah.
This is what I'm saying. And this is the worrying thing about, for me, the reason why I want Conte is not because of the style of football, it's because of what he represents, right? For me, Conte represents an ambitious manager, someone who wants to win, someone who wants to try and achieve trophies at this club, which is exactly what I want, right? I just want to see trophies. I don't care what type of trophy it is. As long as it's not the Audi Cup, I just want to see a trophy, right? But the problem is, I don't think the club want that. So this is why I think the alignment with what Conte wants and the alignment with what the club wants is going to come to the crossroads in the summer, right? And they're going to go their separate ways. And if you ask me, do you think Poch is going to come back? I think he probably will. But there's also, today, there's been a bit of doubt in me. And I'm thinking, do you know what? Maybe he might not come back. Maybe it's not the right time for him to come back. Because if you look at the state of the club right now, there's still so many problems that he was encountering when he was here are still a problem right now. So why would he want to come back? Apart from the fact that he loves London and he loves Spurs, right? He's going to encounter all those problems. Is he going to moan again like he was towards the end of his tenure? Is he going to start moaning and saying, oh, I can't do this? And then in 18 months' time, we're going to be sitting here talking about the next manager. So I don't know what's going to happen, to be honest with you. I think Pochettino is probably that get out of jail free card for Levy. But I also think the fans will get on board with whoever is the manager regardless. So I'm not really sure what's going to happen in terms of the managerial situation, but I do think Conte will probably end up leaving at the end of the season. I can't see him staying.
Do you not think that with the feeling within the fan base at the moment, with the toxicity in the stand, you know what I was talking about with Pochettino songs happening, Conte out songs happening, Levy out songs happening, with all of that going on and with the results going the way they are, now we're out of all competitions, blah, blah, blah. Do you not think it's just better to part ways now?
Of course, it's better to part ways now, but I understand why he's not going to part ways. He's not going to walk away because, number one, he wants to stick it to the board. And number two, he wants his money, right? And I think it's for him proving a point to the board. So he's like saying, well, if you don't like it, get rid of me then. And that's, I think, kind of what he's saying. And look, fans are not going to like that, right? It's going to make them hate Conte more because he is essentially, the way he's acting is kind of to the detriment of our performances. Right, you can clearly see how it is, and that's not right, and we shouldn't really accept that. But for me, the reason why I do accept it is because I have seen so much shit, Ben, from these owners over the last 20 years or 15 years that I can't take it anymore. Yeah, we all have, and for me, I want him to stick it to the board. I want him to do whatever is necessary to show people more and more what this board is like. Because unfortunately, there's only a minority of fans that don't. There's only a minority of fans that actually see with the board for what they really are. And until the fans understand what they're about and fans realize what their real goal is, right, then nothing's going to change at this club. So we could bring Thomas Frank in. We could bring Gallardo in, right? I don't think it's going to change too much, which is what we need is someone who's going to basically kind of be a compromise manager in terms of a half yes man to the Levy and the board. Because no matter what, Levy always wants to control every little aspect of the club. That's just the way he is, right? It's always been like that. And that's why no manager can succeed at this club. And why Pochettino got lucky is because he had a good core group of players when he started at Spurs. And he was able to nurture them and bring in a couple of additions into the squad and make us kind of overachieve to where we actually wanted to be or where the club thought we were going to be. So I think if Conte leaves, I want to see someone like Gallardo come in because I think he ticks every single box, right, for what Levy and the board, right, apparently would want. And I think what the fans would want, right? You've got a manager who doesn't spend a lot of money, right? He knows the South American market very well. He plays like an adapted version of Bielsa ball, right? Like a more modern version of it. So he's very
he's from the school of Bielsa, isn't he?
He is from the school of Bielsa, right? But with him, what you see is if you look at his football, right, his style of play is like he's very adaptive. So he can adapt a lot during the game, and it's not just this kind of real high press football. It's very clever. It's very intricate type of play. The type of players he wants are technical players, and you can see he builds like a team ethos and like everyone fights for each other kind of thing. And I think. He's also, if you look at River Plate, where he was last at, he's not managing right now, but if you look at what he did at River Plate, he brought the players through like Julian Alvarez, right? He brought him up. Look how good he is, right? And Man City got him for an absolute bargain. I mean, what I'm saying is that his philosophy is to bring youth through, train young players, coach them. And I think when you do it on a budget like he's done it, because obviously being at River Plate is even more stricter than where we were at Tottenham. I think someone like him would tick every single box for what Tottenham would look for in a manager and what the fans would expect in terms of the style of football. But I don't think it's going to happen. And I think whoever gets Gallardo, you're going to see what he's going to do. And I think you'll see one of the big clubs take him eventually in the next year, I think, within the next year. And I think someone should jump on that ball bus right now, because I think he's one of the best young managers out there at the moment. But it does, like I said, it doesn't matter who it is. I mean, I personally want him because of his style of football and what he represents and what I feel that he will fit in with the club's mentality and how they'd like to run the club. Because, look, Levy is not going to change anytime soon. So that's why I think someone like him should come in. But, yeah, we have to wait and see what's going to happen. I mean, do you guys think that Conte is going to get sacked? I know Brian was saying that he might get sacked before Nottingham Forest.
I think, mate, Daddy, I think the first game he loses, he is sacked. That's where I'm at with this. I think the first game he loses, he's sacked.
So if he loses against Nottingham Forest, you think he's gone?
Yep. I thought I set up, and I had that bet with Ryan, that should we go out, and I actually said if we get thumped by Milan, I could see him being gone by Forest. But obviously then all this has kicked off with everything, and he's done the press conference. I honestly think everyone's been saying, okay, next game, is he going to go? I think the next game he loses, we pull the trigger. That's where I am with it.
What do you think, Ben?
I think as soon as top four becomes a massive doubt, Conte's gone.
Yeah.
And I think that's just the facts of the matter. Like I said to you on the fan show, I think it's going to cost the club more if we don't make Champions League than to sack Conte. So as soon as that becomes a real possibility, I think he'll sack him.
And do you know what will happen? If he does do that, I guarantee you we'll lose out on top four. And then the gamble doesn't work. And then we'll get the excuses in the summer. Oh, we don't have the money to spend on players for the new manager. We'll get the same mold that we always get. That's what I think anyway. That's why I think that I'm not sure. I know what you're saying, and you make a very good point, Ben, about the risk of losing that top four money, because I always say it as well, that whenever there's that risk, he always ends up firing the manager if we don't get top four. But I think in this scenario right now, I just think it's too much money for them to risk. And I just think that we'll just wait and see what happens at the end of the season. Unless, like you said, maybe, Brian, if he loses the next 2 or 3 games, then maybe Levy might pull the trigger. And then I guarantee you what will happen is Ryan Mason will take control for the rest of the season. Good. And then we'll finish in the Conference League again.
I think conversations are already happening with Poch, man. I really believe that.
Yeah.
And I think as soon as Conte's gone, the next day you'll announce Poch.
Like I said to you yesterday, he's doing the Peter Odom wingy. He's already got his car outside Hotspur Way. He's just camping outside waiting to be told to come in.
The guy has been talking about it ever since he's left the club, Pochettino. He's been talking about coming back. He's been talking about unfinished business. He still has his same house that he lives in when he was manager of Spurs. As soon as he got sacked from PSG, what did he do? He moved back to London. I mean, it's all set up for it, isn't it? It's all set up.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think the fans, unfortunately, look, everyone's going to feel a bit of like warmness and kind of stuff like that when he does come back, because look, what fans associate Pochettino with is good memories. That's why they will be happy. But the problem is that, in my opinion, is that they don't look at what happened in the last 2 years while Poch was there, how bad it got, how he fell out with players and players fell out with him, and all the stuff that happened behind the scenes as well in the club with Poch and players. It's a massive, massive, massive job for him to come back in, and the only way he's going to succeed is if he actually gets a couple of $100 million to rebuild this team, because there's no way he's gonna need more players this time round than he did the first time round to finish that first 11.
But in my opinion, I think the club is in a much different space now as it was then, and you're seeing you're seeing the club spend a lot more money than what we did when we had Poch here, and And I think the squad is in a better shape right now than it was when Poch left the club. So I think he's actually got more chances to come back and be successful right now than maybe he had when he got sacked.
Hello? Can you hear me now?
Hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah, sorry.
he just missed
Yeah,
all that changes his batteries.
Yeah, my mic just cut out. My headset just cut out. Sorry, Ben.
I said that the club is in a different space now than when Pochettino was last here. The club are spending more money every transfer window now than we did when Poch was last here. And I think the squad is in a better shape right now than it was when Poch left. So I actually think that he's got more chance of success now than when in his last year at Spurs.
You could say that. I mean, look, the problem is, right, how I see it, I do agree with that to an extent. Because if you look at like some of the players that we do have, like I think Pedro Porro and Udogie would be perfect players for someone like Poch. But the problem is we're going to need to get that core again that he had. We're going to need that goalkeeper. We're going to need the 2 centre backs. We're going to need.
If Poch comes in, maybe we only need one starting centre back with Romero there.
We're going to need 2. We're going to need 2 because we can't rely on we can't rely on those players. And my problem is as well, Poch coming back, is that there's going to be players in that squad that none of us like anymore, right? And think are not good enough that he's going to kind of give a chance to again. I think you'll see Harry Winks get a chance again. I think you might even see Ndombele also get a chance because it will save some money. I think it'll be sold to him if he was to come back that look, these are the players that you brought in that you never got a chance to work with. Now here's your chance kind of thing.
Yeah, but we're fully stocked in midfield now without them anyway.
Yeah, but let's be honest. We don't have enough quality in that midfield. We have to be honest. If you look at our best, you have to compare, right, what Poch built at Spurs, right, and who he had when he came into the club. Moussa Dembele was already there, right? We don't have a Moussa Dembele, right? He tried to get Wanyama for nearly 3 years, right, and or Schneiderlin and Wanyama, and he was only allowed to bring one in, and he managed to get him after 2 years when he was on his last year of his contract. Right.
Yeah.
Again, last year of his contract, rather than bringing him 2 years before when he was in his prime and we needed him, and we only managed to get 2 seasons out of him because of his knee injury. And this is why I'm saying like we need a complete destroyer in that midfield. I think because we don't have that type of midfielder right now. I think Basuma is going to be. I think he could be a really good player for someone like Poch. But again, he's not a destroyer like a Wanyama or like a Conte or like a Partey or someone like that. You need that type of midfielder if you want to challenge for trophies or if you want to challenge at the top. And I think that's why I'm saying it's a bigger rebuilding job because there were 7 players in that first 11, right, who Poch had already at the club when he went into the club. That was Lloris. We had Jan Vertonghen. You had Eriksen. You had Kane. You had who else was it? Dembele, and there was 2 more. I can't remember who they were now. Walker and Rose. They were already at the club, right? He obviously nurtured them and made them better than what they were. But he did that when he added a couple more players to that first 11. But as we saw with Poch, the problem was never the first 11. It was always the bench. When you looked at the bench, we had Ng and Kudu, Harry Winks,
Kevin Vimmer.
Kevin Vim. Oh God, please! These names make me sick. And yeah, so I think that Poch, if he was given the funds to go and buy what he needs, and do you know what the biggest problem Poch will have is Harry Kane because he's not going to have a Harry Kane anymore, right?
Yeah.
And the reason why Poch's system worked so well because we had a young Harry Kane who could press from the front, right? And we had our team. I've said it many times. It was the youngest team in the league for nearly 4 years. Right?
Yeah.
4 years in the Premier League is a long time to have the youngest squad in the league, right? As on a squad average. And we don't have that right now. And to play the football that Poch wants to play, which is, if people remember, it wasn't an attacking football. It was a high press football, right? What we used to do was we used to push the teams back so much, and used to see Kyle Walker and Danny Rose were key to this. They used to push the wing backs of the team so far back that we could press from the front a lot more, and we used to stop teams playing their football. And then we used to break quickly, right? And it made it look like he was attacking football, but it was just very clever football, very clever high press football. We used to just really suffocate teams, and we can't do that with the players we've got right now. And to build I think a team to do that, a young team, is going to cost a lot more money, Ben, than what it would cost Conte right now to play a Conte system. And I think that's where I say I'd rather see what Conte could do if he was back, but I don't think that's going to happen. So we have to wait and see what happens. But I personally think if Poch comes back, I think the second time round, it's not going to be good for him.
Fair enough. Well, have to wait and see how things plan out. But right now, Conte is still here in the role. But just before we let you go, Danny, what's your score prediction for tomorrow?
I was thinking we're going to lose, but I know Nottingham Forest have been a bad as well lately. You could see this game going for like a 1-1 draw or something. I know Barry was saying it earlier. I agree with Barry. I want Porro to start. I think you'll see Perisic start as well. Do you know what? I actually wouldn't mind seeing Ben Davies and Porro as the wing backs tomorrow. I actually really wouldn't mind seeing that. I think we should try it because Ben Davies. I said I never wanted to see Ben Davies at left wing back again, right? But he had one game in it recently, and he was all right in it. And two games. So maybe we'll give him another game, and we'll see if the other Ben Davies comes out, or we see it. What was it? Stell called him Brian. What did he call Ben Davies? Double vision Ben Davies or something like that. Double vision Davies because he can't pass the ball properly. But yeah, I mean, look, I would go with that. I would say we're probably going to draw the game, but it's Tottenham is one of these teams, right now where you look at it and you'll be like, oh yeah, they're probably going to lose that game, and then they go and win like 3-0 or something like that. You're like, where the fuck has that come from? Or they'll go and lose like 2-0, and you'll be like, oh, okay, well we could see that coming as well. So we just don't know. But I'm going to go for the on the fence kind of result, and I think the way that both teams are playing, I think you can see this going to a 1-1 draw. And Nottingham Forest, we struggle against them, man. We always tend to struggle against them away. So, yeah, I'm going to go 1-1.
All right, Danny.
Speak to you later,
Always
brother.
a pleasure, my friend. We'll speak to you soon.
Big up, boys. Take it easy, man.
See you later on.
Come on. We've got a few super chats to get through. One from Richard saying, I'm now Conte out. Great manager, but doesn't respect the club. Acts like he's doing us a favour, then asks for patience for the process without confirming his commitment to see it through.
It's true, isn't it? It's true.
Yeah, it is true. And that's a big problem I have as well. Suavi saying Thiago Almada is a good cam to sign for Poch if he returns. And the Joracle with the super chat saying Poch's legacy will be as a loser if he was to come back under Levy. I see you are all ready for another round of Levy Kool-Aid. Cheers, lads.
He's on fire.
And that's the Joracle. I mean, that Joracle
fantastic.
interview at the end of last game was absolutely brilliant.
Absolutely phenomenal.
brilliant.
I've watched it about 3 times. It's
good.
brilliant.
So good. But let's go on to our next guest, and that is Mikey.
Mikey, how are we doing, buddy?
Be great if we could hear you, Mikey.
I'm so fucking sorry. No, I'm good. Been busy. How are you guys?
Been good. Also been busy.
Yeah. Snap.
Yeah.
Talk to us. Talk to us about Conte, man. Where do you sit with him at the moment?
I think it's time to part ways to save our season. I don't think it's an ideal situation given everything, but I am of the opinion that it's time to part ways to save our season because it doesn't look like he wants to be here anymore. You know, he's being paid a heck of a lot of money, and it's like we've got 12 games of the season or something. Like we've got 2 months of the season left, and if we let him go, we pay like 5 mil. And in the grand scheme of things in football, that's not a lot of money. But for 2 months, we paid 5 mil. That kind of shows you the money he's on. So that's an insane amount of money to be spending on a manager, and it's just, I think it is time. I don't really see how it's an unhappy marriage at the moment, and I don't see how, for the benefit of the club, it can be allowed to continue in the way that it is.
And if he was to go either now or into the season, whatever it may be, is Poch your answer, or do you have another name in mind?
My first choice would be Poch. I think he would be many Spurs fans' first choice. My only concern is that my only concern with Poch is that, you know, we've seen Levy spend a lot of money for managers since Poch, and I'd be worried that given, you know, the money that we have spent on big signings, you know, the 250 mil plus signings of Ndombele and Richarlison haven't exactly worked out well for us. I'd be worried that Levy would look and say, all right, when we did a rebuild on the Poch the first time, we didn't spend a huge amount of money, and look what happened. Maybe he'll do the same thing this time and then scale back the spending for Poch once again, and I'd be worried about that happening.
Yeah,
so
but
that
I mean
would be a
that would be
concern.
that's the same case under any manager.
This is true.
Yeah, but
That's what I
especially
don't-
under
this is-
Poch.
This is what I don't understand, right? I don't understand this whole narrative of, you know, you've said it, Mikey just said it, about I don't want Poch back under these owners because they won't let him spend enough. I mean, but that's going to be the same.
That's not what I said. I don't. No, I don't want him back under those owners. It's not just about the spending. Spending's got something to do with that. He lets managers down every single time, no matter what it be, whether it be financial, whether it be I'm going to get like Danny said with Schneiderlin. Schneiderlin. I know for a fact that Schneiderlin he wanted as his very first signing as Tottenham manager. He wanted that midfield enforcer. He went up to him and said, "This is who I want, not a version of. This is the man I want. I've worked with him at Southampton." He goes, "Okay, I've understood what you said." He went and got him Benjamin Stambouli. Now, that can be financial, but if you're making your manager's first signing, let's face it, I think Schneider went to United for, 25? We're not talking 70, 80, 90, 100 mil.
I understand that.
But I think there's so much more, like you said, there's just so many things that go wrong. Financial is a huge thing about it, but I just think this falls down immediately. With any manager, I don't...
But why more Poch than any other manager?
No, the only reason I'm saying that is because Poch... I only have fond memories of Poch. Yes, the last year or two was crap. We papered over the Crouch Champions League. The away record was horrible. It's kind of like sometimes why I don't like ex-players coming back to manage the team. Like I didn't like it when Hoddle became the manager. He's God, but obviously the way he left with Eileen Drury and the way it taints that reputation that they had.
I just
don't want it to come back and be bad.
To do with Hoddle. I mean, Hoddle's still an absolute legend at this
No,
club.
but I think he's a god as a player. Even now people talk about him on BT about how he talks about Tottenham. So there's something there that's been taken. Not this football quality. He is the greatest player to ever play for Spurs in the grand scheme of things. But I just don't want Poch to come, and all my memories of him that I do have just turn sour again because of the next stint.
I mean, me personally, I don't think that would happen because, you know, that was a time in history where he did really well, and that will always stay in history. You know what I mean? And if he comes back and he gets done by the board again, then eyes will be at the board again. I don't think eyes will be on Poch.
Yeah, I don't think I've got enough in me to go again.
Anyway, Mikey, we're taking the limelight away from Mikey a little bit here, but go on, Mikey. What do you say?
I was going to say, it's not that I don't want him back because of what the board will do. I do want him back. I want him back more than I would like any other manager at this club, Enrique Tuchel included. And but I just don't want the same thing to happen again and again and again. Like Brian said, to taint the legacy of a man who was arguably our best manager. I mean, obviously, I can't tell. I'm not as old as some people who know Spurs
Not as old
better.
as Brian.
But at least the last.
It was alluded to, weren't it?
At least since I was going to say best manager since Bill Nicholson, but I don't know that far back, so I can't speak to that. But he's definitely been one of our best managers in the club's history, and I just don't want that to happen again, given the owners' I guess predisposition to fucking over everyone that enters into the job. So That's my only concern. But would the positives outweigh the negatives in the short term? Absolutely, you know. But again, the thing is like I think yesterday I did some counting, and I think I counted 13 or 14 of our overall, you know, on loan players, youth players and stuff included, who were at the club when Poch was around. You know, players like, you know, Joe Rodon. I can't remember if he came in under Poch or under Mourinho.
No, Jose.
Oh, Jose. Okay, so there was and you still have players like Ollie Skip, who's in the academy, who he would have worked with, and players like this. And there's a lot of players who are still under Poch and would benefit from that. But at this point, I don't think even Harry Kane. I don't think Poch returning would keep Harry Kane at the club.
I don't think anyone would keep Harry Kane at the club. We've just burnt Mourinho and Conte. Kane, what's Kane thinking now? No manager that can come in after Jose Mourinho and Conte can convince Kane, in my opinion.
I think Kane's only shot at staying was us to win a trophy this season. That was getting top 4 again. Isn't, it might have been good enough for Kane in previous seasons, but at the point he is, you look at the interviews he's done. He said this is not where we should be consistently challenging. He's for trophies, kind of alluding to the fact that year upon year the hope kills not just the fans but some of the players as well. Because let's not forget, it's not like a Romero or a Sanchez who come in and play for the club. He's a Spurs fan at heart as well, so he's got that added thing of, I support this club as much as I play for it. So they're not just his employer, they're the club close to his heart, and that's an added extra thing of, I want to win a trophy, but it's not happening. And there's that added incentive of, look at what Man United are doing, which is probably his only realistic destination. I know Bayern Munich are always rumoured, but I think he wants that Premier League record. I think he would stay in England, which leaves Manchester United and Eric Ten Hag, who ironically could have been our manager if they didn't, his English skills, and he wasn't charismatic enough.
Yeah.
That,
He came across weird in the interview, apparently.
Well, it is weird. He won silverware. It is weird.
Yeah.
But
if we got to the Carabao Cup final, we'd have got sacked 5 days before anyway.
It begs the question of, like, what's going to happen? Is Poch going to come back? And I don't know. I'm of the opinion that if we're going to sack Conte, it needs to be after the Nottingham Forest game. Let whoever take charge of the Southampton game and get a new manager in who can work with some players over the international break and get into the back end of the season, because we have got an April which is chock full of important games. I think we've got a run of like 3-4 games where we play Liverpool, Newcastle, and Man United all in the space of like 2 weeks, which is going to probably break our top 4 challenges. So at this point, Conte will take that. I would literally say, if Poch isn't ready to sign, if Poch isn't, it's like if Poch isn't under the Christmas tree ready to be open, so to speak, you sack Conte. If you're going to sack Conte now, you do it after the Forest game. You let the players have the Southampton game, because, Nottingham Forest and Southampton probably, 2 of the worst teams. I know Forest have been good, and it speaks volumes that one of our identified targets is the Forest manager. But, give Conte the Forest game. If there's not a result there, if there's a draw or a loss, I can see him definitely out. The interim, Ryan Mason, Ledley King, Yaya Toure, whoever the backroom staff host stay at the club, they take the Southampton game and get someone in over the international break. But that's a good point. Just there's so many factors There's so many factors. Liverpool are coming back up. Newcastle and Brighton. If all teams were on the same games played and they'd won all their games in hand, we would be 7th. We're 4th. Only on the fact that we've played 3 games more than everyone around us, or 2 games more than everyone around us, which is
it's also not a given that any of these teams will win all of their games in hand.
Obviously not, but they look a damn sight stronger than we do. Even Newcastle looks stronger than we do at this point. So that's a concern for me, especially if the players are, as Sky Sports aren't always the most reliable. If they're literally on their knees begging Pochettino to come back, I think it's obvious that Conte is given up. I think it's obvious that the players aren't respecting him anymore. And there's news coming out that Perisic and Emerson are both being assessed before the game tomorrow. They said Perisic and Emerson picked up a couple knocks, which looks like our starting fullback partnership would be Davis and Porro.
I don't have a problem with. I don't have a problem with that. It's probably my preferred wing backs.
Yeah, but the thing is, with Davis starting at fullback, it means that Longley has to start at left centre back, and I have not seen for me, I know people often point, but if I look at the players on the pitch who are performing badly, my eyes always immediately go to that left side of our defence, because Longley has been shocking this season.
I tell you my opinion. Yeah, I prefer to see Longley at left centre back than Perisic at left wing back.
That is true. That is true because I know Davis. For me, right, if I was going to keep any of the mediocre players at the club, the one I would choose is Ben Davis. I would, if you're going to get rid of the likes of Eric Dyer, Davinson Sanchez, Ivan Perisic, and all these players, the one player I would keep from those is Ben Davies, because he offers cover in both games. More often than not, he gives you a 6 out of 10. And if you're going to have a left centre back who can come in just for a game or two, there are worse options you could do than Ben Davies. I hold Ben Davies in a higher regard than I think most Spurs fans do, because I really do like him. It's obviously not a great position to be in, but I do like Ben Davies as a player who can play in a variety of positions, and maybe that's just me. I have a fondness for him, but yeah, I'm not adverse to seeing. I prefer to have Longley at left centre back than Perisic left wing back. But in an ideal world, you don't have either of them anywhere near the starting 11. But
agreed.
We're in a situation where if Longley's loan is made permanent, I will go down to Lily White House myself and set fire to the building.
Oh, well, you've said this in front of 700 people now, so let's hope the police don't turn up at your door.
Yeah.
It's a joke, Mum. It's a joke.
But what's your score prediction? How do you see the game going?
I don't care. No, I'm joking. I think. Oh man, it depends, because Nottingham Forest haven't been great, but again, it all depends on the confidence of the players. It could be a 3-0. It could be a 3-0 win. It could be a 1-0 loss. I really don't know. I'm gonna go for a 1-1 draw. I'm gonna go for a 1-1 draw, because I just don't see, as long as Conte's in the gantry, I don't see the players performing for him, because I think they know he's going at the end of the season. There's no way he renews, and it could be even sooner. I think the players will just think, what's the point of playing for him anymore? I just don't see them leaving their hearts on the pitch anymore, unfortunately.
Fair enough, Mikey. We'll see you very soon. Thank you for coming on today.
See you later, Mikey. I have to say, I think you're the only person that's gone for a win.
I think so.
I think you're the only one.
I think so. I think I literally am the only person that's gone for a win. A lot of people must have splinters up their asses because they're sitting on the fence so much with their score predictions. But let's bring on this next person. Are they going to be sitting on the fence or not? We have got the Perchy.
Big up, Perchy.
First time on the channel, Perchy. How you doing, mate?
How's it going, boys? How you going? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you, mate. You all right?
Brilliant. How's it going? Yeah, I'm all right. I mean, we're crap, but hey, I'm good.
Before we get into the game, let's talk about the Antonio Conte situation. I mean, where do you stand with it all?
Where do I stand? I think he should have been sacked the minute he subbed Davinson Sanchez on for Kulusevski the other day. I mean, I've wanted him gone for a while. I wanted him gone for a long time because I just can't stand the football. It's crap. I hate the attitude that he feels like he's here doing us a favour when he's not. He's not improving us, is he? Let's be honest. Yeah, personally, that's how I feel. I've wanted him gone for a while.
But when you're looking at it from maybe the point of view from Levy and the hierarchy, is he not fulfilling his role in the club? Finished 4th last season, 4th right now. I mean, that's his goals that was set out for him before the season, weren't they?
We're 4th by proxy. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
We're 4th by proxy. Let's be honest. We're not here because we're doing any well. We've lost 9 games in the league all season. I mean, and we still haven't gone to Anfield, and we still haven't gone to the Old
St James's Park. St James's
Park.
Yeah, been to Old Trafford.
Oh yeah, we've done Old Trafford, sorry, but we've still got. That's what I'm saying. We still got to go and do a few decent games as well away from home, which we don't win away from home anyway. So, yeah.
And next in, are you want Poch back or you want someone else?
Don't care. Honestly, don't care at this point. No, genuinely, I've said this. What I want at the moment, I don't care who the manager is anymore. I want us to have a plan. We have no plan at this football club. We bring in managers that don't fit our ethos and our system and the way we operate as a football club. It really doesn't matter if we get in Pochettino, all of the other names, Thomas Frank, De Zerbi, all these names. It's kind of irrelevant unless we've got a plan. I said what I want is to take a 5-year plan where we gut the squad, Kane, Son, X, Y, Z, and we just start again. Build up a process from the academy and build up. But we're not going to do that because that's not how we operate. Our ownership will never tolerate us finishing in mid-table. But for me, the only way for us to progress, we have to cut a lot of dross. It's going to take at least 4 years to get rid of half the players that we've got out on loan.
It's true.
Yeah, I mean, some of these players surely will be coming to the end of their contracts. I mean, what? Ndombele signed a...
Have I gone?
No, can you not hear us?
Oh,
What happened to him?
oh, Poch, I think you're back.
Perchy, you there?
Proper frozen on me.
Perchy?
Pochi. Pochi.
Are you there, mate?
I think I'm back.
hear
I can hear you. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
We can hear you,
Yes.
yes, we can hear you.
Okay, I think we're back. I think it just completely cut out just then for me.
Okay, where were we? What was I about
It's
to
all about
ask?
the 5-year plan, and you were saying about Ndombele's contract.
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of these players are going to be out of contract soon, and they're not going to be getting new ones,
Yes.
especially like Ndombele, Lo Celso, Harry Winks, players like that. Obviously, the defence is a big concern with the likes of Eric Dyer, Davinson Sanchez, and Ben Davis. But I mean, when you're looking at the state of the squad, and when you're looking at the players that we've brought in players of a good age and that could have a big longevity at this club. There are still massive holes in this squad that we need to fill, but it was never going to be done over 1 or 2 windows. It needed to be done over a long space of windows, and I think we've actually started that over the last 2 years. Would you not agree?
To a certain degree, but then why have we got Antonio Conte in?
Yeah.
Antonio Conte is not the manager for a project. You get Antonio Conte in because you go, we've got the 11 here. We want you to just go and sprinkle a bit of stardust and go and win us a title. We're nowhere near that. We're nowhere near winning a trophy. But that's why I've got to the stage where I don't even care about winning stuff anymore because I don't expect it. If we win anything now, it's because we've got a bit lucky on a cup run and we've got fluked our way to a final and we may win it. We haven't got anywhere near the level of what Man City, Arsenal have at the moment. Because we need to be looking at Arsenal going, that's how we should be looking at. And it's horrible to say, but that's exactly what we should be doing. You're getting a young manager in and go, do you know what? It doesn't matter if you're going to finish 8th, 5th, but we're going to stick by you because our strategy is to stick by you. We believe in what you do. And this is our way of moving forward. And whenever it gets bad, we stick it out. But we haven't got the manager in Conte that will ever do that. Because look at it now. I mean, his press conferences and stuff are just... But I've been saying this for so long that I'm just sick and tired of it all.
So how can you see this playing out then? Do you think Conte will last the season? Do you think he'll just go at the end of the season? What do you think will happen?
As soon as our treasured 4th place comes into jeopardy, then he'll get sacked. But what difference does it make? I don't want us to finish in the Champions League. I don't want us in Europe at the moment. We get humiliated in Europe. Look at us against Milan. They were terrible and we somehow lost to them.
Yeah.
It's insane. But then, I do say that the only benefit of being in Europe is you get quality away days. That's literally the only reason I go on away days now in Europe because it's a decent laugh. I don't go for the football.
Yeah, I think we were all there in Milan, weren't we? We all had a great time, the night before the game, the day of the game. And it's always the football that just spoils it every time, isn't it? What's that?
That night before was a bit messy, weren't it?
Yeah, it was. It was good fun, though. Most definitely good fun. But were you about to ask something?
No.
Okay. In terms of the game tomorrow, though, how do you see that one playing out?
Doesn't matter. I honestly don't care. Listen, if it means that he goes, and people are going to roast me and stuff, I actually don't care anymore because it makes no difference if we win, lose, or draw. So I'd happily, if it means he gets sacked quicker, I'd happily for us to get beaten tomorrow. But I think we'll probably win. We'll win 2-0 tomorrow. But I don't care. But I'm at the stage now where I genuinely don't care. We play horrendous football, but and I always say this, and when a lot of people sit there and defend the manager, and they always go about, oh, but he's a winner. He's not a winner at Tottenham. So I sit there, he's not a winner at Tottenham. He can't do it with an average midfield and average defence. But I always say to it, it's like, we don't even attack anymore. We're so boring that we even Wednesday we didn't attack. But I think we'll win tomorrow. We'll beat Nottingham Forest. But I always say, but it doesn't really matter. It's going to make no difference to our season if we finish 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, or 8th. It's not going to make any difference.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to disagree with that, to be honest. Really hard to disagree. But if I push you, what's your score prediction?
No, we'll win 2-0 tomorrow. We'll win
2-0.
There you go. You got a second.
We'll we will win tomorrow. I mean, but what difference does it make? We'll set off some fireworks and have a little party because we beat Nottingham Forest. But that's literally where I feel this season. Like, I'm so emotionally drained about this football club that I don't care. Like, and it's this horrible sight, and this is why I want the manager to go, because I say people always say, oh well, I want to get a new manager because this. There's only the reason why I want a new manager. I just want a new manager now to enjoy watching Tottenham. Like, I genuinely don't remember the last time I sat there and went, oh, I love watching us play.
Well, back end of last season was all right, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say. Watching us beat Arsenal, and that was what I said. That was the last time we proper dominated a game of football. Arsenal were our place last season. But yeah, but I mean, especially like this season, it's just, I don't know. Like, I sit there and I always question it, and I understand the defence for Conte, but for me, I've always said it really doesn't matter, because he's not going to be. We all know the ownership isn't good enough at this football club. We can all sit here and agree on that. And I think that's the part of it. But what I'm noticing at the moment is we're seeing a lot of it now where the ownership get blamed for everything, and understandably, I get it to a certain extent. But the ownership weren't the reason we lost to Sheffield United, Wolves, and Milan. Everyone says the defence is crap, but the defence wasn't the reason we lost those games. There's a reason Son, Kane, and Kulusevski can't score a goal at the moment. That's the real reason why we're not winning games at the moment. And I've been saying it for absolute ages, that unless Harry Kane plays 10 out of 10 in every game, we don't win a game of football. And I've been saying that for absolutely ages.
So what do we do when Harry Kane ultimately leaves in the summer?
People will realise and understand the expectations will completely drop again. Because with Harry Kane at this football club, I love him to bits. He's my favourite ever player, but he's now the reason why people think that we are actually, and it can be good in air quotes, because he's dragging us over the line. He's the reason we get fourth place half the time. Without him, we're a mid-table side. Let's be honest. We don't look like, without him, we don't look like we're scoring goals. And that's the terrible. And even now, when he doesn't score, we look a shell of our team. When he has a poor game, we look terrible. And and this is where I always say, when everyone sort of moans about Harry Kane for not winning stuff, and I always say this to people, I said, but he's at a team at the moment where unless he performs every single game, we don't win anything. And then people are saying, if he goes elsewhere, I said, yeah, if he goes elsewhere, he's not the main man all the time. If he has a bad game, other players around him will go and have a top game. And it's horrible to say it, but that's unfortunately where we're walking into.
Poch, to add on to that, because I actually checked this, I know this, you talk about the expectations would be lowered. If we were to take all of Harry Kane's goals and assists away from the start of the season to the day before the Arsenal defeat at home, do you know where we'd be in the league?
I'm going to say 14th.
Almost 12th. That was up until the Arsenal game. That was just take out his goals and assists.
Take out Richarlison's goals and assists. Where would he be right now?
But that's and then you've got to remember since then he's scored a few goals. Like the Man City, so that's another 3 points.
He scored one other goal apart from that. Yeah.
So yeah, they're okay. We still would have beaten Chelsea 1-0 technically. So we would have been 12th. That's how low the expectations will go once he's gone.
But I've said this: we're not going to be able to replace Harry Kane. And this is what I would say about people when they say about how much is he worth. I said to Tottenham, he's priceless. There's no price tag that we can, because no matter whatever price we get for Harry Kane, even if we got 300 million quid for Harry Kane, even with 300 million quid, we wouldn't be able to replace him because no player would join us because we're not good enough. And it's what I say to people. Whenever everyone's saying about his price tag, I said, for Spurs, he's priceless. And the problem is we're now in a dilemma that he's got 1 year left on his contract at the end of the season. The question is how much money does Daniel Levy blink, and what club does he go to? Because however much we all want to sit there and sit in dreamland with Harry Kane, if he stays anymore, I'll be shocked. I'll be absolutely shocked if he stays at the end of the season, because I look around and I go, there'll be many a club wanting him. And there's one club which terrifies me that would break their backs for Harry Kane, and it turns him into an amazing football squad. It terrifies me because it could happen, because it means he could stay in London. What club could that be, guys?
Don't know what, Chelsea or Arsenal? It's not. He's not going either, surely.
No,
Team in
what
blue.
Club? The team in blue are begging for a striker that scores them 25 goals a season. And do you know what? And this is what terrifies me, because He will want to stay in London, Harry Kane, and that club will do anything they can. Look at the way they operate in transfer windows. That's terrifying me.
Yeah, but Poch, don't forget, Poch, they've got Nkuku coming in. But they said that won't mean nothing to Chelsea. They'll just stock up.
Would Harry Kane, do you reckon he would do that to us and actually move to Chelsea?
I mean, let's be frank and honest. How much have we ruined him as a football player? Let's be honest. I think we talk about loyalty. I mean, I'm not being funny. That man has got loyalty dripping out of his veins for this football club. The fact he's still here is insane. So,
well, the fact that he's still here, the fact he tried to leave 2 years ago, I mean, it's not that we held him to ransom. I mean, Man City didn't stump up the money. The bids came in with derisory. So, I mean, what do you expect?
Yeah, but if Harry Kane had put in an official transfer request...
I thought he did, didn't he?
No, he never went official.
He
never went official.
He didn't go official. He basically went through his brother and his agent and all that lot. But he never put an official bid, because the reason why he didn't put an official bid in is you lose a lot of your perks if you put in an official bid, and then you lose a lot of your bonuses and all that crap. That's why a lot of players don't do it anymore. But it takes a player to basically not do it. You lose a lot of your bonuses in your contract if you officially put in a request. He didn't do that. He stuck on, he stayed on, and he's able to try and do so, but it's hard. And it's the whole. I don't think he'll go there, by the way, but I've got a sickening feeling in my stomach that he might do. The other opportunity could be Bayern Munich, but I don't think he'll leave the Premier League.
I think Manchester United is
that's the biggest one. That's the one. But then I think with that you got United, where it makes sense to me. But Chelsea, like Percy said, his kids, and you know him and his he's a complete fan, and they are very, very settled where they are in London. If he does stay within London, he ain't got to move and do anything.
Let's be honest, he was ready and open to go to Man City 2 years ago. So how does that make sense?
No, but I'm saying if he did want to stay in London, they are the viable target.
Yeah, what I'm saying, he was open and he was willing to go to Manchester City. So that doesn't, he's open to moving outside of London.
Either or, they're the two. I think if he was to go out of England or leave, they're the two.
How much money, lads, how much money would Chelsea need to bid for us to accept it? With a player with 1 year left on his contract. If Chelsea put in 80 million quid, do we accept it?
I don't think so, not from Chelsea. I think for a club like one of our rivals, it's going to have to take a mammoth bid, even with 1 year left. I genuinely believe that.
If Chelsea put 100 million quid on the table for Harry Kane, we're accepting it. Honestly, listen. Think about who runs the football club. Think about it. If 100 million pounds
think about
with 1 year left on his contract.
Yeah, but Perchy, we had a bid from Chelsea for Luka Modric, right? And we rejected it, and we held him to ransom, just so he would go abroad, and he ended up going to Real Madrid the next year for less.
Yeah, but it's a slightly different situation. This is a player that had a long-standing contract, not a player with 1 year left on his contract. That's the parameters difference. If Harry Kane comes out and says, "I'm not signing a new contract," then we're going to be having a problem, because then whoever puts the biggest bid in gets accepted, and that's the horrible feeling about it. Because I don't want him to go, but for his sake, I hope he does and goes and finds trophies and wins titles elsewhere, because he deserves it. For a player as good as that, he doesn't deserve what he gets treated at this football club. He must look behind him after time and going, "What do I have to do?" I saw him go over to the bench when the sub was getting made for Sanchez coming, and we sit there going, "What the fuck are we doing?" Sorry for swearing, apologies. I didn't know what the rules on. But no, do you see what I mean? He comes over, he's looking over with the armband going, "What are you doing? We're losing the game here, we need a goal, and you're bringing on a defender. What's going on?" And I was saying to people go, "Oh yeah, but it's because Romero got sent off." I wouldn't have cared if we'd lost that game on the day, and we'd lost 1-0 because we threw everyone up top and went, "We're going to try and win it." It's just, but this is what I say to you guys. I always say, I'm a bit numb to it. I wasn't that bothered when we lost, because I didn't really expect us to get that through, unless I expected us to win the game, to be honest. But I watched that first half and went, the most Spurs first half I've ever seen.
Yeah, very frustrating.
Yeah.
But Perchy, thank you for coming on, mate. And we'll speak to you next time. Come on again, mate.
Take it easy.
Speak to you later, buddy.
Bro. All right, that was Perchy, first-time caller, and now we move on to the last caller of the day. someone that's not watching Spurs for the rest of the season.
Oh yeah, of course he's not watching, is he?
He's not watching Spurs ever again. It's KPV.
It's me, it's KPV.
What's going on, people?
How you doing,
We are
buddy?
Tottenham TV here.
Hey, well, it looks like I'm having to swap with Ben and Sim and get me and Boy Takeoff for doing it. I'm pissed off, man. Like, as Ben said, why would you take off Kulu when we need to go and you bring on the Colombian guy who's clearly not good enough? Like, he's not good enough. Sanchez, we need to go. And Conte goes and takes off the guy who he signed from Juventus, a ginger from Sweden. My boy, like, seriously, enough. Get out of our club, dude. Poch back.
What's happening with your boy Kulu?
Like, I don't care what people say about him. He's still my favourite player, and I do not want to hear any more bad stuff about him. Otherwise, everyone's getting blocked. I do not want to hear it. Bullshit.
Stop blocking people,
Yeah,
KPV. Stop blocking people.
I can do what I want, Ben. I'm not in a good mood, okay? Be quiet, all right? Fucking hell, man. People don't know how I feel about this club, man. I hope Kane goes, I'm sorry, but Chelsea are our rivals, and he's going to do what he shall not be named did, like loyalty. Like, he would never go there. Like, I don't know if any Tottenham players played for Chelsea. Gallas did, but we brought him from Arsenal, and he's played 3 London clubs, and look what he did. He won the title and 2 times, and he joined Arsenal and replaced with Ashley Cole. Like, Cole didn't want to stay there. Gus Poyet, like, yeah, he played for what? Tottenham first, then Chelsea, or Chelsea first, and Tottenham.
Chelsea first.
And Pat Jennings played for Tottenham and Arsenal. I suppose we didn't boom when he was at Arsenal then. I suppose we didn't. Like, but yeah, I'm fuming. Wednesday, I am fuming. Like, I don't care if we lost, because why didn't Danjuma come on, man? Like, what's the point? And
well, Conte says he was about to come on, but then Romero got sent off, so he changed his sub and brought on Sanchez instead.
That's the same happened at home against Man City, boys. It's the same happened at home against City. Like, we were about to bring on Richarlison, but Romero got sent off, so he didn't come on. Like, seriously. And I don't blame Richarlison for staying it, because his season's been shown. He was coming off the back of 2 wins against West Ham and Chelsea, and I don't blame. But he does have a point. But I don't know what he said about Conte. And I did see the interview, but I don't blame the guy. And Conte's comments were disrespectful as well. A couple of games ago, I don't know who that game was, and I heard what he said after the Burnley game. Like, 1 week we beat City, then we go lose to Burnley, and we were on this winning run towards the end of last season. We were smashing teams apart, and we beat them lot who are top league to the top 4, and it looks like they are gonna win it, but I hope not. And we're out of Europe. Like, I want us to get Champions League, not Thursdays again, because we've done that under Poch, and then he's got us top 4 for 4 years in a row. But no more Thursdays, please, because I do not want to hear them lot of Seven Sisters Road taking a piss. Like, they haven't won the league since 2004. We're still taking a piss out of them. Like, no thanks, but I don't want Thursdays, because I ain't going to any games on Thursdays, because I have football training, so I will not be going to any Tottenham games if we play Thursdays. So no chance. Like, I'm not going to any more.
You're going to be watching the game this weekend, KPV?
It's not on Sky. Like, where can I watch it? Where? It's not on TV, boys. We're not on TV until.
So will you be listening to it then?
No. I do not. I'm not watching it. We're shit. Like, what do you expect? Like, I heard a lot of people put their tickets up for sale. Like, they don't want to go because the stadium's going to be empty, like it was 2 seasons ago. Like, there was no fans, but the fans did come back for that North London derby when Son scored that stunning North London derby goal, and Kane hit the crossbar and it went in. But that was the last time fans were there for a Premier League game. But since then, we've not been great. But we've not scored in 3 games. But I've watched the highlights, but I'm not watching the game.
Score prediction, KPV?
2-0 like it was there in August. And I want to ask you two a thing, actually. Stel asked us this last night. Are you 2-year Conte or 5-year Poch? Brian, I'll start with you, mate.
Sorry, say that again.
Stelios asked us this question last night. What would you choose? Are you 2-year Conte project or 5-year Pochettino?
Oh my God. So right now, but what are you saying? The Conte signs a 2-year contract or Poch comes in for 5 years?
Yeah.
Well, if Conte was backed with what Conte wanted, if they're both getting backed with what they wanted, I'd have 2 years of Conte.
Ben, what about you, mate?
They both got what they wanted.
They both got what they wanted. If Conte got exactly what he wanted this summer, and then he signed a 2-year deal, I'll keep Conte.
Fair play. Like, not bad, but like.
What would you do, Carl? What would you do?
Not bad.
Oh man, I'm Pochettino, man. Sorry. Like, he has unfinished business, and he said what 2020, I think it was April time, that before he died, he wants to win us the league, and yeah, that's what he said. He wants to help us at least win one Premier League because that's what he wants, and I don't blame him. And so yeah, and that's what extra Max's dad wants. He wants to see on Sky Sports. Like, if we lose tomorrow, then Daniel Levy's going to act quickly and sack Conte, and Poch is coming back during international break, and like, yeah, that's what he's going to do. But yeah, he'll be gone before the end of the season, and I think tomorrow, if we lose, then he's gone, and Poch is coming back because some of the fans want Poch back, and some of them wanted him out. I didn't want Poch out. I never said on social media I wanted him out when the last season didn't work out well, but I never said I wanted him out. Some did, but I wasn't the one that wanted him out. I wanted him to stay because Champions League final, and he got us there. But since then, we've been shit. Cup finals, and I don't care what anyone says, but I'm sorry, but Kane and Son out, please, because we're not winning anything. Well, that bald-headed guy is at the club, Levy, and who are we going to get to replace them to? You need about 5 to replace them to. The best partnership since when Son joined. They've got more goal contributions than Drogba and Lampard put together. 45. Like, hopefully that will continue tomorrow. But like, and I just seen on Twitter that Perisic wants to return to Inter Milan. The Spurs web on Twitter has just posted it. Like, well, go back to where you came from then, kid, because you've only got 9 assists. So he played left wing in the World Cup, and he was brilliant. But since then, he's been shocking. So goodbye, kid. Go back to where you came from, kid. You ain't good enough. Do one. Should never sold Modric, but we held him back, and we rejected from Chelsea. Like, and he went to Real Madrid. Like, Bale signed a contract for till 26, and then Real Madrid come calling for that big money. And who do we get? We get Soldado, Kirikes, and Ericsson Lamela. But Ericsson and Lamela were the 2 great players. Soldado and the rest rejects. And I don't know why we ended up getting them, but it's all I'm going to say. But anyway, I'm off to play FIFA. And Ben, do not tell me to use my picture again, because I was forced to have it as my profile picture.
Who's forcing you? Who's forcing you? I want to have words with him.
Yeah.
I was forced to do it because
I know.
When we lost,
By who?
Arsenal fans forced me to do it because
who? Which Arsenal fans? We want to have words, me and Brian.
We do indeed.
Well, you can't, because I can't tell you because I'm in a WhatsApp group with them, but I can't say. But
never bow down to any Arsenal fan, KPV. Don't listen to them.
Like, after we lost at home, I deleted my entire Tottenham Ultimate team and got rid of, because if we hadn't lost at home, we've not done since 2014, then I would have kept it. But I've got that Tottenham team back again, and there's 2 Lady King cards you can get. The Hero one and I think there's
Carl,
a purple.
people are asking in the comments what the picture was. I don't want to out you. I don't want to say it. But if you want to say it, you're welcome to. But you don't have to.
No, I
if you
don't
want
want
to.
to say it, man. I don't want to
Okay.
say it because I'm not allowed to say his name. Since Brian Degger mentioned it on David's channel the other day, I'm not saying it. SC is what I'll say. SC. Like,
All right. Well, I
that's
think
his name.
I think you guys can probably gather what that was. But Carl, did you give us a score prediction?
Yeah, I said 2-0, mate, because
2-0.
we scored 2-0 at theirs in August, and Kane missed a penalty, and
We
Dean
also
Henderson.
lost 2-0 there.
Yeah, we were there, weren't
No,
we? for
that was in the cup, mate. In the Premier League, we won, but we lost in the cup, fella, because Lingard scored. We wanted Lingard when Mourinho was there, but he went
We
to
want
West
everyone,
Ham.
Carl. We want
Well,
everyone,
players
Kyle.
we want. Well, like, I really don't care who we want, but Firmino's available, and Firmino's leaving, so Firmino's available, so I wouldn't mind him because he's leaving Liverpool, and they haven't been great, but they're playing before we are. So at home, our home record isn't that bad, but we've lost a couple. But I don't want to lose. We didn't lose on Wednesday, we drew, so they haven't won in England.
KPV,
since
always a
Yo.
pleasure, my friend. Thanks for coming on today.
See you later, brother.
And before you go, do not let any Arsenal fans force you what to do.
Exactly.
I know, but what can I choose then? Like, what can I
What
choose?
can you choose?
Real Madrid? Real Madrid,
No.
is that better?
No, choose a picture of
Naeem.
scoring from the halfway line, or Bentley scoring from the halfway line, or Kane scoring against Arsenal. Anything to piss them off.
Well, fair enough, but I don't care, but I'd rather choose Real Madrid than any other team because I know they haven't been that great, but they're still. I know they're the European champions because Napoli could surprise a few. I think they'll probably surprise a few. They could win it, but you never know. Shocks have happened before, boys, but never wipe Real Madrid out. But I'm off
KPV.
to let the dogs out. And as always, Levy sucks.
Laters.
Nice one, KPV. Thanks for coming on. And
that
thank
last
you,
guest?
everyone, for coming on. A nice mammoth stream for you guys today. 3 hours. 3 hours of Antonio Conte talk and Tottenham preview for Nottingham Forest. But thank you, everyone, for today. We'll see you all very soon for player ratings? No, predicted lineup. And the press conference will be on the channel in a few seconds as well. So go and check that out. We'll see you all very soon. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.